Good evening, and welcome to Targeted Massachusetts Northeast Conference, Christmas edition. The comments, suggestions, and the like on this show are not necessarily the views or opinions or comments of Targeted Massachusetts, nor myself. And we are off to another great evening on Friday night. Merry Christmas to everybody who's appeared so far. Hi, Laura. Hi, Candy. ABC. Ann. And that's all we have so far, but I'm sure we'll get a lot more.
Merry Christmas, Frank.
Merry Christmas. And I'm sure that we'll get a lot of interesting Christmas stories tonight. I was almost totaled out at least 3 times. Let me see, Wednesday. And God, I mean, people were just literally swerving into my lane. So my only conclusion is that they were totally maxed out on something. Alcohol probably, maybe pills. Who knows? But beware, there's a lot of bad people on the roads today. Good people with too much alcohol. New Year's Eve, completely stay off the roads because I've seen evidence in the past of some really horrific scenes. I pulled into a coffee shop one year, parked, only to see a car hit a sign at 120 miles an hour. And it all happened in slow motion. It hit almost up to the top of the shop sign, shattered it, and the pieces went half a mile down the street. So it was really incredible. But you don't want to be in something like that. So, now we have 8 people, and I'm sure that list will go up as time goes on. And Land O'Lakes, the only reason I muted you is because I was getting an echo myself, and I can't talk when I get an echo, so I'm going to pull that off. Hold on. My daughter's calling me.
Okay, I'll go. Let him talk to his daughter. So I got a Christmas poem. I know it's lame, but I'm going to read it anyway. 'Twas the night before Christmas, old Santa was pissed. He cursed out the elves and threw down his list. Little shut-in brats, plugged-in little jerks. I have a good mind to scrap the whole works. I've been busting my ass during this shutdown all year. Instead of thanks, Santa, what do I hear? The old lady bitches 'cause I'm high risk. The elves won't wear masks. The reindeer are pissed. Rudolph got drunk with all the nurses. Donner's distracted and Vixen keeps cursing. And just when I thought things would get better, those assholes at the IRS sent me a letter. They say I owe taxes, and if that ain't damn funny, who the hell ever sent Santa Claus any money? And the kids these days, they're so secluded. They want the impossible, and everything's so polluted. I spent a whole year making wagons and sleds, assembling dolls, their arms, legs, and heads. I made a ton of yo-yos, no requests for them, flying through the air, dodging the trees, falling down chimneys and skinning my knees. I'm quitting this job. There is no enjoyment. I'll sit on my fat butt like all of you and draw unemployment. There's no Christmas this year. Now you know the reason. My family is in quarantine this season. That's what I do when I'm bored. So Merry Christmas to all 10 of you. And I have
Merry Christmas.
Hi. I was going to say, and I have nothing else, really.
That was nice.
Did you write it?
Did you write it?
Yeah, I did.
That was very good.
Hey.
Yes, it was. Thank you, Laura. Yeah.
What's up, guys? Ham radio when you're bored. I bet there's a lot of tech tips from those guys. I'm learning ham radio, and I've only been to one lesson. So, I mean, what is there? It's just, it's not as complicated as I'm making it, I'm sure. You just listen, though? Do you speak on the ham radio, Lando? I just saw something in the chat about it. So tell me everything. Somebody's got to have something. Well, that's awful.
Sound just a little bit muffled there, Laura.
Do I? Because I don't have my mic. I'm just doing it freelance.
Oh,
I know.
okay.
I could turn it up. Hold on. But, you know, I don't have much to say. I was just letting Frank talk to his kid. You know, last year he had his daughter on one of our calls. I thought it was so neat. I was going to ask him, how did you do that? I mean, how did you get her interested in the, you know, coming on the call?
Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah.
And
I have heard some other kids come on the call before. One was actually asking for information because they wanted to know exactly what was happening to their dad. And
yeah, that's amazing. The family, I know, family has been spotting this in their family members, which is amazing because a couple years ago that wasn't the case. I mean, 20 years ago there wasn't even, and I mean, I thought there wasn't even a little ounce of hope that I would meet another person like, you know, another TI. So I don't know.
I think we all hope and pray that we meet someone and don't have to spend all the time by ourselves, and someone who understands what we're all going through too. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you have a 400% chance. I mean, your chances go way up if you have an accountability partner or a friend in life. So yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's great to have a friend who's a TI too in a room with somebody who's a TI, because they understand what you're going through, and they understand when you flip out and drill yourself up into the ceiling somewhere in pure, unadulterated anger. And that happens sometimes to me. It's happened on the calls before. I hide it as best I can. But there's a lot of stuff that goes on, and right now they're doing word and phrase dampening, And so I've been fighting back with Dave Case and a bunch of other things in the room all night long until the morning. And if they're still giving me shit, I leave it on all day. So it's been interesting.
Wow. I was going to ask you, how did you get your daughter interested in the call? Last year you had her on the call?
Yeah, well, she was interested, but she got herself into a problem, and she's out of that problem now. I haven't seen my granddaughter in over 2 years.
Mm.
So, I'm a little bit PO'd at the family right now. But, hey, what can you do?
But yeah, how did she get interested is my question. Like, how did you drop settlements? I mean, yeah.
Well, I invited her to the call.
And she just came. That's cool.
Yeah, she came, and I've sent her a lot of videos. I've sent her some information. But it's hard to wrap your head around it. And
yeah.
Unless you're going through it, unless you're doing it. But we do have a brand new organization that's starting from Gloucester by Nicole Ahern, and it's TI Parents Helping Parents. And this isn't just about kids. It's about adults and young adults who are having trouble with their parents because of this. And I will tell you the number one reason, and it's because everybody thinks it's because they've changed. Well, it's not necessarily the case. You've changed. You're fighting off 1 to 2 to how many different, I will not call them people, I will call them personalities with voices all around you and attacking you physically all the time. So you might be in the middle of a conversation with, we'll say, your mom or your dad, and what will happen is, they'll hit you in the genitals or something like that and say, ha, 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 in the background. So you're having this mental anguish war right while you're trying to communicate with someone. Like on these calls, it's difficult sometimes. And
and then a cloud of chemtrails comes along, and it seems to exasperate the words and the sounds and the moods, and that's hard to figure out too.
Yes, it is. It's very hard to figure out. But my main message is, you've changed, so you have to try as hard as you can to shake off the perps and be your old self and not mention these creatures. You mention the creatures, you're headed down a bad road. But it was Nicole's idea, and I'm sure that Nicole will present herself on the calls here shortly. We have given her a full page in Targeted Massachusetts. Hold on one second. Okay, Mike, you have people in the background. So I guess what I was just saying is, be yourself as much as you can. Reach inside and grab all of that strength that you have and use it. And keep that positive attitude, because that's the only thing that will separate you, your own personality, from this personality that has changed, that is fighting a war. As you walk and talk normally with everyone else, you are fighting a war. Those of you who are gang stalked, you don't know what to wake up to. You might wake up to someone in your house. You might come back home with numerous items missing, valuable items missing, items just arranged? There are a number of different ways. I can't stress enough for those who are gang stalked to go to Vimeo and look up a video called The Program. And to get it, just type in The Program and Targeted, and that will bring you to it. Versailles, don't come on the call with your mic open. Thank you. Okay, we're up to 31 people now. Very low for Friday night, but it's only 9:14, so it's going to be a great night. So, how you doing, Richard? And I saw Midge on here, which is exactly what I was hoping for, and I'm hoping to see Ella hop on too. Hi, Midge.
Hi, Frank.
What's new?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. How's your night?
Oh, gosh. Well, I'm okay, but yeah, I got hugely gang stalked last Saturday. So I was in a created car accident last week. Last Saturday, somebody rear-ended me. The lady in front of me slammed on her brakes, and I have a great suspicion that she works for Citizen Corps. So it caused a 4-car pileup, and I took the brunt of it besides the person who hit me. My car is totaled. So there you have it. But you know what? We're very resilient. We are the strongest people that I know. And you move on, right?
That's what we do.
We move on. But we have each other. And I want to thank you yesterday for your phone call, Frank.
Oh.
That really helped. It has been a very difficult time.
Yeah, I could tell it's been a difficult time.
You think? I was blubbering all over the place. So.
Yeah, this is the roughest holiday I think that I've seen quite some time. Because,
well, there's just a lot going on. I mean, there is a huge war going on, not just with the TI community, but I feel like the whole country is being targeted.
I think it is. I think if you want to look at it this way, we can agree to disagree, but I think China or Russia is targeting us, along with possibly our fragments or dissidents that have purchased access to this program. Because if you look at statistics and you look at what the government is doing, they are building this stuff and they are using this stuff, but they're probably using it overseas, okay? And it's being accessed by local factions like the mob, the underworld will say. Okay, you can say it's the federal government doing it. I'd rather think that someone's accessing it or paying someone on the federal government for access to this. Because there are documents clearly stating that, I'll give you an example, in the 80s, the FBI was using brain fingerprinting. That's what they called it back then, brain fingerprinting. They could use that as a lie detector and tell positively whether the person was lying or not. Now, when I first met, I don't even want to say the word met, but they used a lie detector type program, and I mentioned it early on, way back, and they still use it every once in a while, so I'm wondering if that's coupled or part of it. But yeah, it's really strange. So the government, yeah, I think they're involved. They created the stuff. But I think you're being attacked. Russia, we've caught Russia 3 times. Once in 1976. They took out one of our ships, the USS Donald Cook. Okay? They dropped the cook, and the cook had to be towed home. Okay, and we've caught them in Moscow, irradiating the embassy. So we've caught them 3 times, 3+ times. So Russia definitely uses this stuff all the time. China just used it to physically roast an enemy, in the Himalayas, I believe. They roasted them in place, cooked them. So they were like in a microwave. They were cooked, burned, and even the buildings burned. So people are using this stuff all over the world blatantly. So there's a scientist that says the voices are the easiest thing to do. The other stuff is something else again. So I think the voices are coming from one location, and that the torture is coming from another location. And I think as far as gang stalking goes, I think this is coming from mobs and companies and entities that are involved in trying to control people that are either knowledgeable in what their company does and they've left, or people that are in security companies that have left and know too much. We've had a number of cases now where people know too much and get targeted.
Well, I have to tell you something. I have the registration papers of InfoGuard and Citizen Clean. And where I found them was on the Arizona Corporation Commission, where you register your businesses. And guess who it was under? It was under Homeland Security. And that is a fact, and I have the information to prove what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is that they are contracted with Homeland Security. That is a given. Everyone's targeting is different, yes, but for some of us who have been whistleblowers, it is coming from our own government. Fact.
Well, it is a fact, and it's also a fact that we have the low-down, dirty guys that are out for themselves only. And even in Nashville, Tennessee, there was a RV that was spewing a recording that it was going to blow in the street this morning first thing, and it did blow up and took out about 40 businesses within a couple of blocks. So,
how many people did they kill, Richard?
Oh, many. With the blowing up this morning? I'm not sure.
Hundreds. Must be hundreds.
Where was that at?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh.
Well, they're not reporting any deaths right now. They're just saying that people have been hurt, but I haven't seen anywhere. Just to let you know, I could be totally wrong. But I've been watching it pretty carefully today. So, but who knows what's going on, right?
Midge, could you provide us the documents supporting what you've said so that we can get that word out? And,
I'm not going to do. Yeah, I will. You mean I put it on Twitter.
Okay.
I mean, and if you look at your emails, I think I sent it to you months ago. The registration.
Okay. Yeah, I think I remember the registration.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I can pull all of your emails.
Right. So InfoGuard is the one, doing, the stalking, but there's also Citizen Corps, and sometimes they're not both. Sometimes it's just one doing it in each state. So here in Arizona, it is Citizen Corps. In Texas, it is InfoGuard, and I'm not sure about other states and stuff, but that's usually how it goes. So knowing what I know is that these two companies come from the same, like, mothership. Okay, I don't know how else to put it. The same parent company. Because when you do a subsidiary search, you always check to see who is the parent company. and that will tell you who actually owns it. So a subsidiary search is done very simply, and that'll tell you what a company owns. All you have to do is put in the name and say subsidiaries. That's it. So that'll tell you what else they own, and it's absolutely shocking when you see that. These corporations and, Homeland Security is an empire. I had a congressman tell me that. It is an empire. And so that's where a lot of this stuff is coming from. The fusion centers run the stalking program. That's a given.
Okay, I found a link for Infraguard. I'm going to put it in the chat so that people can go there. And I agree with you 100%, Midge. There are so many factions in this country, right down to the Nazi Party in this country that we have to deal with.
There's still some remote mind
Yeah.
control programming going on that causes random violence. And this happened again the other day around here. And it seems to take place at different parts of the country at different times. And again, I'm going to, harp on this part of the pun that some of this is related to MK Ultra. Now, this story that came out yesterday, it's a very sad story. And this guy was looking for a car to buy. He'd flip them a lot and make some money. He gets his grandson, his grandson-in-law, soon to be. Anyway, gets him, and they go to this area. It's Sellers. Get it now, Sellerstown Road. This all has this name synonymization in it. But anyway, so they arrive there, and they're to meet these sellers of this car in a church parking lot. And it's really sad. This was an older man that was wanting to purchase this car, and again, this grandson-in-law, and they were ambushed. I mean, the assailants robbed them, beat the old man terribly, and killed the young man, 24 years old, had 2 children, just about ready to marry the mother and get their home established. And it's just, and the old man's just barely alive in the hospital. But what I'm getting at is there's a lot of the name synonymization with the Sellerstown. These aren't coincidences. They're somehow they're programmed to happen, with these particular names or addresses or again the numbers. And the young man that died, his name was Travistan, almost like travesty. And there's one, not so coincidental fact after another. But it's a very sad story. I think that is programmed to happen, to kill people, cause violence, cause to. Oh, by the way, this car was listed on Craigslist, is where the old man had seen it and agreed to meet. And this was out near Whitefield, North Carolina, just about 40 miles from here. And it's probably not so coincidental. Sellerstown Road is also where that church was. That they had a lot of trouble there years ago, and it was the daughter wrote about it. She lost her mother there. Her father went to preach, and he ended up getting wounded in some kind of gunfight. But she spoke of this man who was heavily involved in 911 communications, and it had all the remnants of a mind control thing going on. And the title of that book was The Devil in Pew Number 7. It was a great book. It never made the bestsellers list, but I couldn't get enough of it because, it was another sad story of harassment, stalking, intimidation, just all the things, many of us victims have gone through. And boy, that family was really put through it. But and it's right there on that same road. Maybe it's that same church area. But anyway, I just wanted to share that because I do believe a lot of it is not so much, what's the word, premeditated or singling out somebody. There's a random programming going on, and that gets people in certain areas, and if they got little drugs in them or something, then the system gets them. And that's all I wanted to share about that. I see it time after time.
Mm.
Midge, can we come back to you and elaborate a little more on what you were speaking of?
About what, Homeland Security and all that?
Yeah, people need to hear it.
Well, the fusion centers is where the stalking programs are run out of. And so what you can do is you can file a report with them, a complaint online, which I have done. And you can also call them. And so they contract with InfraGard and Citizen Corps. So these are contractors. These are, big-time contractors with the government. And sometimes these contractors also contract for other services with the government. They just don't do one thing. No, they do many things, and that's how they become so wealthy and powerful. So you can look at some of the contracts. You just go to the DOD contract page, and you can look at some of the names and some of the contracts that are out there and how much money. They usually post contracts. They do it like in a week segment, but you can look at the contracts, and they only post the ones that are $5 million or more. It's disgusting how much money is spent with these contractors, and so they have become very, very powerful and very wealthy. So, they don't just do it with Homeland Security. They are contractors with different, military services. Huge. So that's kind of a telltale place to look at some of this stuff, and it really opens your eyes a lot. I think it's very shocking.
I've just found something that I haven't seen before. Maybe you guys have, but it's brand new to me. And this is a symbol in Boston for a fusion center. And I'm going to see if I can get it in the chat. But you can understand the meaning the minute you see it. But it's really something. I've never seen it. And I guess I'm not going to because it's not there.
Well, these contractors, they're just not contracting for one government entity. They cross lines. They do it for whoever. Whoever will give them the job and give them the contract. So you'll have a contractor that contracts with Homeland Security, and it is an empire. And you'll have the same contractor contracting with the FBI or the CIA. So they do many, many things. And again, that's how they become really big and powerful. And then they also have their private corporations. So they're multifaceted.
Okay, I've got that image finally. I hope it comes out. Damn it, I can't. To everyone. And I cannot get it. Okay, it changed from a picture to Homeland Security. You believe that? Well, anyway, it's a picture of a large uppercase O with 3 smaller red O's on one side, bisecting it, and bisecting the other side are 3 more small red circles or zeros. So it's kind of a really screwy picture. But this is apparently the symbol for Boston fusion centers and maybe nationwide.
Well, the fusion
One
centers
quick question,
are...
Frank. Frank, one quick question, Frank.
Yes, let Midge finish first, please.
Well, I just want to say that each fusion center is run by state. So it's not like it's one big, across the board, across the country. So it is run by state, and Fortune 500 companies are helping to fund fusion centers. That's a given.
Okay,
So
I've got that. I've got
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
JFIF. It's in the chat. You can open it. Finally. It's still not a picture, but you have to open it. Go ahead, Mitch.
One quick question, Frank. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Somebody else wants to talk, I guess. Go ahead.
Go ahead, sir. Remember your manners.
Okay. So when you complaining to did a complaint to Fusion Center or InfraCord, what response did you get from them?
What I want to do is I want to walk into. I've said this a couple of times, but I can't do it alone. I want to walk into the Fusion Center in Boston with 3 or 4 people, and I want to say, what is it that you exactly do? And I want to sit down in an office and speak with them, and I want to get an accurate description of what you are doing in my city. And that's what I would like to do.
That's a good idea. I think that's an excellent idea. I know of someone here in Arizona who did that, but you're absolutely right. You need to take people with you. We have the right to know what these government entities are doing. We're paying their salaries. It's disgusting, to say the least. So then, they contract with CIA, FBI, NSA. The NSA collects the data. They're doing the warrantless surveillance, hacking into our phones and computers and so forth and so on. So it's the FBI that trains the local law enforcement. Everything got reorganized after 9/11 because Papa Bush wanted to control all the intel agencies. So they're all actually under Homeland Security now. So you got the FBI who's, doing certain things and also helping to run the fusion centers. And you got the CIA doing the torture program. So it all breaks down, because sometimes it feels like it's all just one big conglomeration and you can't make heads or tails out of it. But each government entity like that has their own specialty what they do. There are MK Ultra drones. There are MK Ultra cell towers. So, and I got that information from Kathy O'Brien. I interface with a lot of people who know more than I do, who have been around a while, who have been trying to expose this for many, many years, and Kathy O'Brien is one of them. I mean, she has a lot of great information, and she's in that new documentary, which I would encourage everyone to listen to. It is on Vimeo. You can rent it, and it's called 1,000 Pieces. So the narrator is Sean Stone, Oliver Stone's son, whom I have spoken with, and he knows about the targeting program by far. So Kathy O'Brien is in the documentary, but what it's about is it's exposing the corruption of the CIA and the FBI. So I would encourage everyone to watch that. So the gentleman asked about if you file a report, online, sometimes you might not get a response, but it's a paper trail. And now they know that and you have filed this complaint. So that's just one more person that's doing that. We're not going to stand for this.
Yeah, I know. It's time to take the reins.
God, yes.
Power back to the people. This is actually the message that I felt that's going across the country. People are really bullshit. Everyone in general, not just us. And they want their power back. So, it feels like some of the things that we have been preaching are getting out there somewhere.
Well, they've been deceived and they see it and they know, I mean, it took a lot for their awakening, but they are being awakened. And even though we have tried for many, many, many years, it's now happening on a grand scale. So in a lot of ways, this is an exciting time to be alive because we're seeing a lot of changes take place. And it is up to us. I mean, we are the educators. We know what's coming down the pike, and we have to do everything that we can to ensure that this country doesn't go to communism. So we've all been played. The government has played us. China has played us. So we have to start really sticking up for our rights, and people are fed up. And I can feel that.
I agree. This is Deb from St. Louis.
Hi, Deb.
Hello. I am so glad you said that, Mitch, because, and I just want to say to the TIs that are out there that there's some stuff we need to watch out for. It happened today. And it's those things where you're going along, and this is, forgive the wording, almost bearable. You kind of feel like you have your feet steady on the ground, and then something out of left field. A couple in my small group invited me for dinner tonight. With this new job that I had, I have worked so many hours, and I didn't sleep well. They hit me all night long. I mean, it hurt so bad. I woke up just shaking. And I said yes, but I meant no when I accepted the invitation. And I was getting dressed, and I really got convicted, and it was like, okay, all right. The reason for my no contact with my family is to develop boundaries and to become more honest with myself and others. Because basically what it was for me is I was saying yes out of obligation and whatnot. And so I called her and said, I have something to tell you. And she goes, you don't want to come. And I said, I want to apologize. I should have been more honest. And I did apologize, and I asked her forgiveness. And she said she was okay, and nothing like that really ever bothers her. And so we parted that phone call okay. Now let me rewind to when I started going to this small group. This couple, it's like, don't ignore your intuition. Don't ignore that knowing in your gut that God gave you. It's there for a reason. And when I first met them, it was like, oh, my gut. And it was like, well, God can change anyone, right? So the months have gone by, and they've seen, some of the devastation in my life from this targeting. They don't know it's targeting. But they see I've lost my job, I've lost my home, I've lived in my car. But they also have seen my determination not to give in to this. Whatever this cloud that's following me around is. I was on the phone with my son, and one of the other things that really disturbed me about this couple was that the summer that I found the community, 2018, I had taken a AA sponsor. Oh, excuse me, I said the fellowship's name, pardon me. Anyway, I had taken a sponsor. She was legally blind. She just wanted to know everything about me, okay? seemed very into developing a friendship, a mentorship. And what I'm saying all this for is that this is how they snag us. We are vulnerable. Don't ever forget that. We are not victims. We are vulnerable. And we have the ability, now that we know that what's going on, we are 10 steps ahead of the game. Because now we can critically think it through.
Mm-hmm.
And so when this person hinted around about being roommates, she lived in Ferguson. And I said, I ain't never going to live in this house because you have locks on every door. And she said, that didn't send off alarms for me. But what sent off alarms for me is that she went with me to see my granddaughter in Jeff City, and she took a bunch of pictures. Now, she's supposed to be legally blind, right? Well, this man in this couple at my small group is also blind. And all of a sudden, all these jobs with the state came up. And I went, my alarms went off, and I went, oh, man. And with the Catholic Church, which I want no part of. Forgive me if there's any Catholics out here. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it didn't work for me. Fast forward to tonight. She calls back right after I got off the phone with my son. We had just been speaking about how important community is. They found a new community where they moved to, and they're delighted, and I'm delighted they did too. We were discussing how important community is, and I was telling him how important my small group is. On Tuesday night, one of the members gifted me some money. I didn't ask for it. It was completely unexpected. However, when this woman called back tonight, she called back not with the purpose of being a friend and speaking difficult words to another person that you care about and having a discourse, an exchange of her, she gets to say something and then I get to respond. It was an attack. And it was an attack from left field. It's hard not to be paranoid about every person you meet. It's so hard not to do that. But we have to remember, not everybody is a perp. But on those occasions that you have run into them, be sure and journal that so that you can go back and see those things and review that. Because we have to encounter other people now that this has happened. We don't get the benefit of, we've been damaged by it. Let's face it. Our trust has been damaged. And so trust is like a muscle. We have to work it.
I'm sorry, this is Kevin. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So let me get this right. Somebody was helping you out and gave you money, and then the next time they called you, they attacked you?
No, someone at the same, one of the women at the group, but not the person who gifted me, gave me the gift, another individual who had offered, they had offered to help me, this couple, but there was this, you can tell when somebody is engaging you because they really want to get to know you and understand who you are, as opposed to what can you do for me.
Yeah, I actually asked Frank for you to get my information. I was going to try to help you out through the holidays. I don't know if you ever got my contact information. But I knew you were living out of your vehicle and everything.
Oh,
But
bless
Frank,
you. Thank you.
can you give her my
I
contact information
Yeah,
again?
you know what it is? I didn't have it probably and thought that I did.
Okay.
I think she was supposed to email me her contact information. Oh, incidentally, I finally got that image. I took it to Photoshop and changed it to a JPEG. So it's now in the chat, and you can see how bizarre it looks. It looks like one operation center with 6 smaller operation center. I also put the link to the Massachusetts Fusion Centers in there.
Hi, this is Tracy from Colorado. How is everybody?
Tracy, I'd like to get Deb's information here first.
Oh, okay. I have some information about fusion centers.
Yeah, Deborah, can you
Yes.
can you email me at frank@targetedmassachusetts.org with your contact information and that you want it to go to Kevin?
Okay.
All right, and Kevin, make sure that I have your contact information. Do I?
Yes, you do. I get your newsletters every week.
Okay, Kevin. All right. I'll be looking for it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, just for us, you might want to just drop me an email just to identify your email address because it's in with thousands of others. Not that I can't find it, but I think that's what I'll do. I'll probably find it that way. But I can put.
I'll get it to you, Frank. Don't worry about it. I'll get it to you. Okay.
Yeah, I've just got a ton of things, and there's so many things I can't write them all down. That's how many there are. So the more help you can give me, the better. I'm going to be asking shortly for volunteers for the Allen Institute, and I hope we get some. And so go ahead, Tracy, and she has information.
Okay. Yeah, I just looked up when Mitch was talking about the fusion centers and Homeland Security, and this site, it says dhs.gov. It says fusion center locations and contact information. It says there's primary fusion centers and recognized fusion centers, and it explains the difference. And at the bottom of this site, they have a phone number for every fusion center in every state.
That's the same site. That's the same site that I just put in the chat. That's excellent.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Great.
Midge has a lot of information on fusion centers, and I don't know if she has more than anybody else here, but she is very, very up to date and up to speed with fusion centers.
Okay, great. Yeah, I just thought that might help, and I'll look in the chat too and see if there's some stuff that maybe that's not on here that I can learn too. So thank you. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know that logo is brand new. I've never seen it before. And I've been to that site.
Yeah. Wow.
I wanted to go to the Fusion Center with Nikki, but Nikki is way up in Gloucester on the North Shore, Cape Ann area, and I'm on the South Cape Cod area. So between the two of us, there's a long drive, you know. So
yeah, but I think it is a good idea to bring someone with you, because I think when you're by yourself, they can bulldoze you. You know, they won't take you serious. They'll run right over you. And, you know, the information that I just read on this part, it all sounds to me like a bunch of justification, mumbo-jumbo BS about why they need these things, and they don't.
There are some people there, though, that I respect, and that's state police. And the state police have actually turned in the commander, the general, if you will, of state police for fraudulently protecting a judge's daughter. And
thank God.
The Massachusetts trooper came forward, and he said, "That's not the truth, sir." You know, and he went public with that. But they're usually right from the Marines right from the SEALs. So the state police are normally very, very great people.
Yes,
And
yes.
if they see an
And I
injustice,
believe
they will stop it. I believe
yeah.
that.
And I know, and I know that the military is involved in some of this, but I am a very big military supporter. My whole family has served in every single branch of the military, and I know that they're not all bad and they're not all into this, just like all police are not bad. All police are not into this stuff, and people take it that way, and that's not correct. They're not all into it, and they're not all participate. Where I used to live,
agree.
There were four police that knew that they were connected to the chief of police and another officer that were into this stuff. They quit, 4 of them in a week and a half, gone, because they wouldn't participate in this stuff. So there are good ones out there, and they're basically the true service ones are there to help you save your life and protect you, and I believe they're still around despite this stuff.
I think the huge majority are very good.
Yeah.
And, and who knows exactly what goes on. But I have a stinking suspicion that some are being paid extra money under the table, and that's how you get a bad cop.
And I know that some of them are ostracized. Some of them, if they don't participate with the other ones, they are ostracized and targeted themselves. And it happens to them because they won't do it. And so there is integrity, still does exist, with some. So there's some hope there.
Yes. Yeah, it's the same with doctors. It's the same with doctors. Doctors are under the thumb of managed care and this faction that's going on. And so if they don't comply, then they are faced with huge retribution and are targeted themselves. So, it's a whole system of targeting different professions if they don't comply. And what I'm seeing is that people are stepping up and stepping out and stepping away from all this.
And I hope that the good ones will take over and flush these guys out, the bad ones out. So, thank you for letting me speak.
Oh, that's very good, Tracy. It's great to hear you, and it's great to hear from Midge. And Midge hasn't been on our call for a while now. She has had her share of ups and downs, as you may well imagine, and as she has spoken of. And it's really tough to sometimes get a handle on this.
Mm-hmm. And it's been a really rough couple of weeks for me, and it's better now last few days, but, they start dropping these thoughts into your head of suicidal ideas, and I can feel they're not mine, and I just have to do something else. I have to focus on something else, something positive. But once in a while, it gets me because I feel like my brain is taken over and I'm not living my own identity and my own self, and that's the part that that breaks the human being, and that's what they're trying to do, is break your will and your spirit and just hopefully jail, death, suicide, crazy. That's what they want, to cover it up. And so, it's but it does pass. This too shall pass. So, thank you.
I'm just sending an email out. I was going to do it earlier, but I'm going to send it out now because we are at 43 people. We're usually up around 60 by this time on Friday. So I'm going to send it out and see if we can catch the rest of the people. And if they're not here, let's hope they're enjoying Christmas with their families.
Frank, one quick question. Can I talk to you now for a second?
Yes, you can.
Yes, I'm calling from Orlando. I spoke with you a couple of weeks ago. I'm getting disturbed while I'm sleeping. I'm getting induced thoughts or induced dreams, and then I'm getting eye irritation, everything. Um, I don't know, like, is there any shielding is available? It has been going for last 2 years in my life, Frank.
I have not found any shielding myself that works against V2K, and I have probably found shielding that works against the targeting itself. But because of the V2K, I think that they are separate. I think they are coming from two different locations. So because of the fact that the V2K is coming from somewhere else, they can blow off whatever you're doing and say, wow, that doesn't work, this works, that doesn't work, this works. They can laugh right in your face and say it's not working. So we have to find a way to drown the V2K. That is what we have to do. And I know if it's the V2K that's doing that, I know how to stop the targeting. So, we'll figure it out together.
Okay. Now, recently I gone through, there is a YouTube video done by Robert Stanson. He has done some work like wiring, earthing the bed as well as a reverse polarity. Do you have any idea about that one? You can see on the YouTube.
Okay, I have not seen it. I would appreciate it if you would email me the link on that. So you're saying it's reverse polarity at positive ground. I need to see how it is set up.
Okay.
I'm familiar with reverse polarity wiring.
Okay. Yeah. And because of that one, I'm getting like at 3 o'clock they are waking me up with a wake up signal, and then after wake up I'm getting some kind of like a shivering kind of movement in my body, and then my sleep is getting disturbed for next 2 hours, and then I'm not able to work at 9 o'clock or 9:30 remotely from my home. I work as a software professional.
Excuse me, software what?
Professional, software professional, software programmer.
So you're a code writer. You are an enemy, not a boss. Not a boss.
No.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm a programmer. I'm into computer science for last 15 years, but I'm not gone into all this kind of stuff like this electronics or something. Most recently I've been hearing. So basically, I'm a computer programmer, but not into security side. I only work on the application side, not on the security side.
Okay, you could be very instrumental in creating software that we could use to identify the signals.
Yeah. That is different technology. What I'm saying, I'm into programming. You are correct, but it is a bit different. Yeah, I have to go through some learning process in order to learn that one. But it is not my current mainstream of that one. I'm just saying.
Okay, very good.
I will email you whatever the link that I found on the YouTube. I will email you.
Okay, and I will make that available in the newsletter, number one, and I will also make it available Wednesday evening for the videos that start at approximately 8. If I can get people to come in, I'll start videos at 7. It all depends upon the people. Okay.
I will email you tomorrow, and then I will check back with you, because when I send an email, for some reason it is not received by the receivers. I don't know why. So I want to make sure that you are getting you are receiving my email or not. I will call you and make sure after I sent out the email.
Okay, that's very good. That would be great. A lot of people call me or text me, and they assume that I know who they are. Now, probably 90% of them I do know who you are, but a lot of people will just send a text with no identification whatsoever, and I don't know who you are, and I will just answer, and I'll say, please, can you ID yourself? But it's best to put, who you are. If you're bold enough to send a text, you should be bold enough to put your full name after it. That's just an observation.
Is it 508-857-8334?
508-857-8334. That number is everywhere. It's my personal cell. And I put it out there because I want people to get in touch.
Okay, Frank.
Okay, if you get an email right now from me, it is trying to reach everyone to make sure everyone knows we're here tonight.
Okay. Yeah, I will get that link from the YouTube. I'll send it to you by tonight.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Any other pertinent YouTube links that you have, I would love to have them.
Over the phone right now?
You can send those over the phone if you like. That's not a problem. It'll go into my history, and I can pick them up anywhere. I'm a little leery of connecting my computer to my phone, so I haven't done that yet. So I am emailing back and forth between my phone and my desktop. But yeah, they all want me to connect my phone to the computer. I can see the advantages, but I can see disadvantages as well.
Don't do it.
I won't. I won't. Trust me.
This for reverse polarity that can create dirty electric, right?
Reverse polarity, if this happens, I'm used to seeing this on yachts because some yachts were miswired or the docks have been miswired, and somebody will pull in and plug in, and they'll find out that there's an indicator flashing red that will indicate that there's a reverse polarity condition and that they rectify it. And they do. It's very easy to do. So
does it create?
Go ahead.
Does it create dirty electric?
Yeah, it'll create dirty electric. All right, it'll burn up everything you have. If you if you touch the sink, you'll get a shock, or you'll feel it. If you touch any type of branded material, you will feel it if the polarity is reversed.
Well, there's a YouTube video here. I'll send you the link, but it talks about reverse polarity in your car using the two Chevy reverse polarity. I have a Chevy, by the way. 2-wire door locks.
Okay, that's actually not reverse polarity. There's a series of electronic components that are used to. There's actually a diode in there, and it only lets electricity flow in one direction. So when you put electricity to the other direction, it flows fine. So that's how they do it. One direction, so it's just a rocker switch. So it throws energy to one side and the other side, but it can't flow backwards.
Oh. So that's how they're jacking around with my car, huh? Making me.
Yeah. The other instance is two solenoids. One solenoid locking, the other solenoid unlocking. There's a lot of different ways they've done it. So I don't know exactly how yours works.
I was getting out of my car last night. I have been using my key. I have a key fob, which I can remote start my car, but I don't. I pop the key open, and then I just manually open it as I'm pressing the button. I'm probably still sending code, but I don't know. It just feels safer that way. Anyway, as I was locking my car, I looked inside, and on the dash it said code, and then there was like this little book, like this little icon that had a book. Yep. What is that?
The little book wants you to look up the error code.
There shouldn't have been an error code, though.
Oh, no, there shouldn't have been. Anytime you get an error code, anyway, let's put it this way. If somebody totally reverses the polarity of your car, it will take everything out. The computer will be destroyed. Everything will be destroyed. And you will not be able to move that car an inch without spending thousands of dollars.
Do you know that's what happened to the computer, 2 computers in one of my cars?
Okay, well, you have some type of person or a problem within your wiring that's allowing a reverse polarity to occur. Yeah, many computers in cars just die all of a sudden, and nobody seems to, understand totally why, but there's a lot that goes on in a car. There's a lot of power surges. If you're using an old battery, the alternator is a slave to trying to keep that old battery pumped up. And that's the first place I would look, is I would make sure I had a brand new hot battery in there. And never try to nurse an old battery, because you'll end up with trouble.
Well, in my SUV, which ran like a top, the first time I was driving it, it just dead stopped. And and the second time, with the replacement computer, I couldn't get it licensed because my brother did not match the VIN to the computer. He was like, "Oh, he's a policeman, right? Oh, it's no big deal."
Yeah.
So yeah, it is, because when I went into an AutoZone and I needed a part, they say, "What kind of engine do you have?" And I tell them, first of all, it was a 2005 Tribute with a Escort engine.
Okay.
With a Ford engine, because it was a 2005, and that confused them. Well, then the computer didn't match the VIN number, and I'm like, oh, great. And so when I went to license it, of course, I had to have it you know what I'm talking about. I had to have it, I'm trying to find the words to say. I had to have it programmed to the VIN.
Yeah.
I'm sorry? Yeah.
Remapped, yeah.
Right, yeah, that's it. And my cousin called me and said, could you come down here and bring the title with you? The state troopers are here. I'm like, on the way. But this was, 2014. 16. So the second time it died was 2017. And I'm driving, and then all of a sudden this lady in an Illinois, a car with an Illinois plate appears and says, I'll give you a ride anywhere you want to go. And I'm like, no, I'm staying with my car. And when I look back, because a lot of my perps, Illinois plates, constant Illinois plates. And when I look back, I thought, oh my goodness, thank you God that I didn't get in that car. I don't even want to go to where that could have led to. But I didn't know the significance of her Illinois plate until, fast forward to, I'm seeing people following me. I'm seeing the same cars. I'm seeing the same license plates. I'm writing them down and going, wait a minute, that license plate was on a different car before. What is going on? And so there was many, many, many Illinois plates. Not all, but many. But that's 2 computers in the same car. So I was just wondering, how did they do that? What did they do? Why does it feel like my car's attacking me?
They've prevented auto theft altogether unless the thief takes out the computer and does some really fancy footwork and changes the VIN on your dashboard, because the computer runs everything in your car today. It's responsible for tracking everything. So your car is really not attacking you. Something is getting at your car. That's what I will say.
Well, I sure haven't figured it out, but that's sort of like, because I wondered about reverse wiring in my apartment that I had, because all of the outlets were installed upside down, which is not a big deal unless you make sure you put the right wires on the right screws. But it always felt like it was coming out of those outlets.
Not a good idea. I would continually go to AutoZone and look for error codes for a length of time. Either that or buy, since you seem to have a chronic problem, buy a small meter from AutoZone that you can plug in yourself. The plug's right on your dashboard down underneath.
Okay.
And you can tell immediately whether you have any kind of problems.
Okay.
It will even pick up if your gas cap is loose. Okay, we need somebody else up here. Midge or Laura or... Go ahead.
Hey, Frank.
Hi.
You want to let her know to check out and do a search, see what diagnostic will run on her card. See OBD1, OBD2, OBD3.
Oh, 3, yeah. Well, that's kind of like goes without saying. You just look.
Well, some people might not know.
Yeah, the AutoZone guy probably will, because they'll.
Yeah,
but that's a good thing to mention. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, it's onboard diagnostic. It's a module that will give you a readout with the error code.
Thank you.
How you doing tonight, Frank? I was tardy, bro. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah,
Did you want to do an after call after 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock sometime?
Yeah, I could. I figure you might need some backup.
Yeah,
I'll be here. Sure.
All right. Yep. But it's great to have everyone here tonight, and we're reaching 49 people. That's good. Maybe the email helped. I think Derek Robinson was running a call tonight that was actually the end of his call that he's been doing all day. I'm not sure. If so, that's very nice of him to do that. He seems to be the only one that won't join the club. Midge is on board, Ella's on board, Neil's on board, everyone, Karen Stewart's on board, everyone's on board except for Mr. Robinson. And he wants to stay apart. So that's too bad because we could share resources and get a lot more done. But he wants to be the queen bee, so to speak. But anyway, that's not what we're doing tonight. Tonight is Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. And you really don't have to be too much better to be better than 2020. I've never seen anything like this past year. And I think that many will agree that in their lifetimes they have never seen anything like this. And let's hope that that's the end of it, because we're really, really tired.
I pray I never see another year like this one.
I second that.
Yeah, I will third it on top of my first hand. But yeah, it's been a terrible year. We haven't been able to make as much progress as we would have liked to have, simply because of this Corona situation, which dampened Ella's Washington event. I think it dampened Targeted Justice's Washington event. I think we were going to all go together on that, as I recall. But, things happen, and at this point in time, we're all coroned. Coroned.
Well, Frank, I think that we still have a ways to go as far as a country, because there's a lot of things up in the air, a lot of things are happening. And I say this all the time when I go on the calls, that we stay in touch with one another, do the buddy system, check on each other. It's very essential that we do that. Make sure that everyone's okay. Because you know what? No one's going to take care of us but us. So I think that it's important that if you can, stock up on food, canned goods, all that, but be willing to share it with your fellow TIs in your area if they should fall short of having supplies. We don't know what to expect in the new year. I just know that what the atmosphere here is in Arizona, and it's really sad because the corruption, though, is coming out. There's a lot of eyes on Arizona right now, as well as other states, and it's good to see. So a lot of these governors are being outed that are Nazi governors and tied into the deep state. So there's also a lot of good.
Right.
But it's a war. There is a silent war going on, and we have known that for a long time.
Right.
But yeah, please check on each other. We recently lost someone in the community. Matthew Benson Curry has passed away, and that's really sad. Matthew was a very kind soul. He was a former music teacher. He was best friends with Doug Cruz, and it just broke my heart to hear that news the other day. And it was a year ago that Linda Costanzo was in the hospital, exactly a year ago. So we've lost a lot of, great people this last year. So let's be in touch with one another, be each other's buddies, keep each other up. Someone's having a bad day, please lend your support. And let's not do this alone, okay? You don't have to be alone to do this.
Right, and let's not leave that person alone either. If they're in your state, make it your business to be there. If they're close by, make it your business to be there. At the hospital or at the clinic or at their home. But make an appearance if you can. Because that could be the difference between this person passing away or not.
Yes. Exactly. Maine is kind of like what you're talking about, have when you go to the Fusion Center, have somebody with you. Go to the FBI, have someone with you. Do not ever go alone. So it's the same in this sense as well. You know, it's best to have that buddy system, have someone in place that can assist you, will be willing to go to appointments with you. And I have found that to be very beneficial. Some of us Arizona TIs got together for Thanksgiving this year. We went out to dinner, and it was very nice. And just holding each other up is very vital and important.
Very good, Midge. And I'd just like to give some credit to Laura because Colorado is starting to shape up.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. Yeah, I do believe in what we're just saying, and I do check on TIs, and it's a hard job.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you don't get a reaction that you want, you know, or that you expect. So it toughens you up a little bit. Have a lot of, you know, a lot of TIs taking advantage. I hate to see that, but we do have. I mean, I've made some relationships I've made I would never have been able to before. These are people that I would have never met before. So it's been amazing. I wanted to ask Midge if she has thought any more about doing a call, maybe about how to talk to your senator or your congressman.
Yeah. Yes, I have. I've been in a car accident.
Yes, I heard. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, last Saturday. So, and some other things, and so it's kind of set me back.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time talking. Like I have to put my finger on my jaw bones where they connect in order to speak because something happened in the car accident. So it's very, very painful.
Darn it. Well, that's no good. Okay, well,
as soon as I get a little bit better, I would love to do that because I have spoken to a lot of legislators, and I know what they like to hear, what they don't want to hear, what they can handle, what they can't handle.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of how you present yourself. You know, there's so much going on, and this next year is going to be very exciting to see how things fall out. We are going to be a big part of that. There are more and more people who are not TIs who are waking up, who are, you know, asking questions about, you know, what's happening. There's a lady on Twitter who stepped up yesterday and said, you know, out of nowhere, I just feel so sorry for targeted individuals. She's not a TI. But, you know, there are a lot of people who know about this. Anyone who's speaking truth to power is getting targeted, your independent journalists and so forth and so on. They know about the TI program. We had a great guest on the Saturday night call. What was it, Frank? 2 weeks ago was Chris Kitsy.
Right.
As soon as Ella posts that video, that interview, I highly suggest everyone to listen to it. Chris, I met him on Twitter. He's just a wonderful person. He's the one who started beforeitsnews.com. He also started Zoom. He has started many great media sites. He's in the know. He himself has been targeted in many ways. He knows about dues. His ranch got burned up. He saw the beam come out of the sky. He lives in Northern California. So as soon as that gets posted, he's a wealth of information, and I just really enjoy Chris a lot because he has been in the know for a long time, and he has a lot of connections. And there again, you know, I pay attention to people who know more than I do, you know. So.
Right. And I'd like to mention Nicole Ahern's site now that we have some people.
Mm-hmm.
We've offered Nicole a page on targetedmassachusetts.org. And if you go there by phone, our site is a diddle site. But if you go there by computer, it's quite different. But she has a whole page on there, and it's about TI parents helping parents. Now, it's just not parents with little children. It's, young adults and adults that have been separated from their parents because of this affliction, I will call it. And it's going to be a place that you can go to speak your mind, parent to parent. I mean, if you're a parent, you are a different person other than, someone who is single, who has never had a parent. I mean, never had a child. Yeah, never had a parent. Good one. I do have
It's a whole different ball game when you're targeted and you have children who are targeted. And it's a whole different ball game if you have grandchildren and they are being targeted as well.
Okay, Midge,
So
I'd like to ask Laura to come up just for a second. I have to make a pot of coffee, and I'll be right back. You and Laura can handle it.
You're so funny. So, Mitch, I know, he's so funny. So, how was your Christmas?
Well, my Christmas was great despite everything because I'm in a lot of pain from the accident. So, but otherwise it was very good, because you just move forward and we have the right to enjoy our holidays, and no matter what happens to us, find the joy. I know it's not always easy.
Yeah, but it was hard for me today, actually. It was hard for me. But you can find the joy. There's always something. Mm-hmm. Some silver lining. But today...
Yeah, I'm sorry, Laura.
It's all good. It's all good. I got a good pulm out of it. So...
Well, I was talking to my daughter, and, I have a really good friend who has MS. Her mother died of MS, and she has MS. She's had it for years. She's gone into that final stage, and she has now lost her ability to walk. So I look at people who are less fortunate than I am, and there are a lot of people out there. Mm-hmm. There's a CNN reporter who is well-known who lost his 8-month-old daughter last night. He's been very open about her struggle with cancer, and it has been on social media. Well, she passed away last night, only 8 months old, Francesca. So there are a lot of people who are worse off than we are for the most part. We have a lot of things to be grateful for and to have many blessings. And trust me, I don't really feel that way right now because I am really hurting, but still there's always others who are very less fortunate. And I said to my daughter last night, I said, because she knows what's going on with me, and she might not know everything, but I just said, at least we can get up and walk across, and go and go do things, whereas my girlfriend cannot.
Yeah.
She's very dependent upon others, and so I just try to count my blessings,
Yeah. No, I love what you said about reaching out to each other. I think that's so important, and I try to get my TIs here together, and it's funny that Frank said that we were coming together. I mean, sometimes I think so, but it's been a struggle because I know all of them, but they don't know each other. And I know 10 of them would get along famously, but getting them in the same room together, or in the same, at this point in the same park, where can you go? Can't really go anywhere. So, yeah, it's become harder to connect, I guess. Not communicate, but connect.
Yeah, it does get difficult, I think, in the TI community in your own state to get everyone together.
Yeah.
I always marvel at the New England states because they are a close-knit group.
Mm-hmm.
They are there for one another. I've lived there off and on 3 different times. And I've got, I was able to see how they have formed these close relationships, and Kate Ryan has a lot to do with that, and Frank as well, and other people. But they do check on each other, and no, that really needs to happen.
Yeah.
Laura, I think you're good at that. You're very good at doing that and reaching out to other people.
Yeah, I think some people get, they get a bad taste in their mouth when they get used, or, something happens. Sometimes people say, "Oh, she wore a red shirt. I knew she was a perp."
Oh gosh.
So you never know. You never know with people what their problem was.
Yeah, they're triggers. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you got to remember. Yeah, you got to develop some thick skin, and remember that some people are. I mean, everybody's targeting is different. Some people aren't there yet. They don't want to be friends. So
red is just a color. It does not hurt you.
Yeah.
I wear red. I don't really care because I've always liked it. And it's just, I understand psychologically how that bothers some people. But, talking to Mary Lamont, who's a crisis counselor, she has often said to me, you tell people that it's a color. It won't hurt you.
Yeah.
And so some of the stuff is very trivial.
Well,
so
and the fear.
Focus on the big stuff.
Yeah, the fear is so great. I think that people just need to, realize what the red is not something to be afraid of. I mean, the actual color red is not something you need to be afraid of. And those are little things. And when I meet a TI, I act like I'm on an interview, kind of. You want to be on your best behavior. You don't want to, I want to say make any sudden movements, but, you want to be on your best behavior. And sometimes I don't think people realize that. They're kind of all about, how can you help me? And so when you can wade through that, you can make some really good friends in this community.
All right.
So it's worth it just to, your organizer in your area, just call them and see if they have a few numbers, and you could get to know people in your area. Might help. It helps my life.
Yeah, that's good. I just think it's going to be very critical that this next coming year that we really form some tight bonds in our own state.
Mm-hmm. And speak. Be able to speak about this, credibly and with, I want to say, authentically, be able to speak about this in public. Like I would say, practice it a couple times. The first time I told my story in a group full of people, it was, I wish I would have practiced. I know I say that because I heard myself and I sounded a little bit out there. I would like to tone it down a little bit. And, Richard tells me, never leave anything out because you want to tell the whole truth. But I believe not the whole truth all at once. People just they can't grasp it. They can't take it.
It's too overwhelming.
Yeah.
So you have to keep it short and concise. You don't go into a lot of detail because people cannot, you make it then plausible deniability because they cannot comprehend that something could be so evil that this is happening to regular people, and they get scared,
Yeah. Well, it took me, a long time to process this. Like I didn't, So I've had better luck with just, like you said, just try to keep it. What I do is think about what does this person care about. I had a friend listen to Frank's call last Friday night. She was interested, and she was interested in learning about this. I told her about targeted pets because she does care about animals more than she does people, and I get that. So I told her about targeted pets. And she's on Facebook all the time. So it's kind of depends on the person, what they care about, what their concerns are. That's where you're going to be able to get them interested in this subject. So I don't know. I think it's just different, for each person. But it's not an easy task. I think that this year, sorry, but I think this year is our time to speak. This is our time. So.
Right. This is our time. You're right, Laura.
Anyway, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everyone.
And to you too.
Thank you. And I don't know if you guys are. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hi.
Hi.
Is that Constance?
It is.
Hi, and how are you?
Surviving it.
How are you?
Yes.
Did you have a good Christmas?
Huh?
Were you able to enjoy your Christmas?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Have a couple of TIs. Spent it with me and Alex. I've been really worried about you lately a lot. So.
Yeah, well, I know why I was targeted last Saturday because somebody contacted me and said, you need to speak out more because you know a lot and you have friends in high places. So they kind of made me feel guilty, and so I did something very significant, and I disclosed something to somebody very important. So that was a retaliation against me. But frankly, I'm tired of getting hurt so badly. But I won't stop. I can't stop. That's just it, because they want you to stop. It's like the first time I went to D.C., I got burned severely.
You're still getting hurt, Midge.
But
I
went
still
back.
getting. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I haven't been. No, I haven't been severely burned. But
this program is becoming more worse. We've had so many decades on human experimentation, and they felt that it was okay, that they got away with it so much. So now it's just wide in the open. And exactly what you said concerning that it's just not us anymore. It's everybody. I mean, we have a mass mandate. We have curfews. They're taking away our freedoms, our liberty, our constitutional rights, our holidays. Oh, they want you to cancel Christmas, Thanksgiving. Oh, God, last year we didn't even celebrate Easter. Church is closed, but the bars are open. I wonder who does that. But there's so much going on in this world that TIs need to get together, and that is one struggle that I have had for over a year, is getting TIs to come together. They just want to sit up because they're scared. It's time to get courage because it's not going to get better. And no, there is not no white horse that's going to come riding through and rescue us. I have experienced that thought myself several occasions.
The white horse that's going to come through is us, and the noise we make, and the words we get out. That'll be the white horse.
That's going to be it.
But it's not going to
we got to take it and get the courage. I mean, how can you have courage when you're getting burned every day? How can you have courage when your brain is scrambled up and you can't figure out if you're going to, your memory is swiped? I've had that happen to me.
Connie, I see what you're saying. I mean, yes, you can have courage, but, the follow-through can be impeded by that. I mean, we can't let it, but, I see what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, what do you mean by the follow-through?
Constant
follow through.
courage.
If you get out there and you scream to the top of your lungs, hey, this is happening, and it's not just happening to me. It's happening to everybody. And
well,
you think
where I live, they don't know anything about it. And by follow through, I meant precisely what you're saying. Of course, follow through is doing something about something.
But nobody wants to anymore. They don't want to get out there and say, hey, this is going on. Hey, that's going on.
Marilyn?
Yeah,
They're scared.
Right now it's COVID.
Marilyn.
COVID is
No, another form of targeting, Frank.
well.
Another
Well,
form
no.
of targeting. No?
No.
I don't think so. No. People are dying of it.
Your own opinion, but if you
wait
do
a
the
minute.
research, you will change your mind.
That's right. Because
you are
know
entitled to your own opinion, but this is a mandate of mask.
Mm-hmm.
This is COVID is just a virus. Oh, anyway, why aren't we hearing about the flu this year? Why aren't we hearing, oh, you need to go get some romatestin because you got a bad cold? Why have those been deleted from our life? And the only thing they talk about is the COVID. And why can't you go to the hospital and get surgery now? Because there's too many beds in there that COVID patients are sleeping in, being treated so that they can get better. My heart goes out to them. But it's time for us to wake up and see it for what it is.
I agree with you.
Too late.
You know, here in Phoenix, they have lumped all of the murders of gunshots under COVID deaths. And the reason why they do this is because they're getting more funding
from the government.
For each diagnosis of COVID, they're getting federal funding for each ventilator that is used. And,
57,000.
Right. And, my brother died during the lockdown when it first started, and he died alone. He was in the hospital in ICU, and we were not allowed to see him.
So we couldn't see what they were really doing to him.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. So, so there's a lot of nefarious things going on, and it's all about the almighty dollar. I'm not saying it's a hoax. I'm saying that it's the hype that's happening that is unnecessary.
It's all about follow the money. It's all about follow the money. If you get in a car accident and you die in this car accident and you go to the hospital and it just so happens you got COVID, they'll say it was related. You died of COVID. No, you didn't. You died in that car accident. But they are so busy. Okay. Let's look at this another way. Let's look at it the way that it is. All of our targeting, we've been to doctors. They never could figure out what was going on. Why? Because they were compensated. You go to the welfare department, Social Security office, you go to pay your bills, you live in a house, or you're leasing, you're mortgaging. It's all a frame because everybody's a part of it. So why is everybody thinking that the government and everybody else is not a part of this? They say that the mayors had over 100. They went on a boat trip, and everybody was maskless. And these are governors and mayors and representatives that we put in office, and we the people have the right to get them out of office because they're not representing us. They don't care about us. They don't care about nobody else. They care about how much money is going into their pocket. The stimulus bill, 95, pissed me off so bad. $9,500,000. $1 billion, my bad. We're getting $600. Illegals are getting $1,800. Why? Because they missed the $1,200, so we're going to do the $1,200 and put the $600 with it and give them $1,800. My dad died in Vietnam. I worked for 30 years of my life paying taxes. What do I get for this $600? And everybody's like, oh, at least we get $600. No. We should get that $2,000. We deserve that for what we have been put through. Us as TIs deserve 40 times that much. And that angers me when people say that they're happy to get that. Don't be happy for pennies. Be happy for dollars. We have been through enough stuff in our life to be rewarded our body back.
No
our
other
mind,
government in the history of the world who has given money back to their citizens during a time of crisis. The United States is the only one.
I know that them to give, they given $44 million to the Kennedy Museum. Last time, Frank, they gave, $1,500,000 to the Kennedy Museum. 2 weeks later, after they got the money, they fired the employees. Really? How are we looking at this? What kind of street theater are we looking at?
Two Kennedys from Boston, Massachusetts lost their lives serving this country.
Do you think that they got any compensation from the money that was put into their possession that was supposed to be for them? I don't think so. I think the government got it. I think everybody, Nancy Pelosi, sitting up with her $38,000 refrigerator full of high-end ice cream in the middle of a pandemic. People are going to the food pantry getting food because they've lost their job.
Thank you, Costa. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Costa. You telling the truth.
Nobody wants to hear the truth.
And Frank, and what was that bumming this morning down south? Was that a terrorist? A terrorist? Frank?
Yes, ma'am.
You know that bumming they had this morning?
Well, ma'am, I tell you what. I work all night long, so I was probably sleeping. I usually don't get up until 1 if I can sleep at all.
Oh, you didn't see it on the news. It was a big deal.
I know, yeah. I haven't seen it yet. I'm hoping to hear from you guys.
Okay, all right. Sorry, I spoke.
My opinion is that I've heard that there were hundreds of businesses. So this could be thousands of people that were killed. We don't know. I don't know anyway. I will know.
I was just trying to jump in again. Yes, Nashville, Tennessee.
I think only 3 people went to the hospital.
That's it? 3?
That's it. 3 people, non-life-threatening injuries.
Well, that's what I was trying to. That's what I was trying to get around to a while ago. That it was deliberate. They parked it out there bright and early, where there would be no people, and left it sitting in the very center of the street. There was not even any traffic, and the only people that actually got hurt were people that, some officers and some people that were standing too close. And just before it blew up, there was a few blocks away an alarming, enormous amount of gunfire and automatic weapon fire just before the vehicle blew up. So it was all staged to be exactly the way it was, not meant to catch a lot of people off guard, which means, in other words, if this was evaluated in the country of Yemen or Iraq or Saudi Arabia or some of these other countries, what this would have been like a test to see how things would go, how what they could get away with, how long it would take. So this is something that is brand new, and
good work,
it's not.
Good. Sorry, I know you hate being interrupted.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, anyway, if you check your military procedures for the past 5 years in some of these other countries, even with the roadside bombings, not every roadside bomb was a roadside bomb. Some of them they would come up on, they would see them, they would get out of the vehicles, people would pop out of the ground, out of the doorways with machine guns and drop them where they stood. So it's just looking like this might be something that happens again, and it might be. You want to be careful about where you spend your New Year's Eve celebrations at. Just saying.
I'm just looking at the USA from, because I'm not in the USA, what Trump's done, and I don't mean to be political, is it's a recipe for disaster. Like, there's just so many people that are unhappy, and like en masse. So anyway, I'll mute again.
Okay, do we have anybody else that would like to speak and give us an opinion on what they think is going on?
So, Frank, you told us to be watch out for this weekend, next weekend. Are we still watching, Frank?
I watch everything. I wish I caught. Yeah, I do.
You told us that. You told us that last night, and I didn't forget it. You said, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but y'all watch.
I was not on any calls of any kind last evening.
Oh, I'm mixed up. I thought the day was Saturday. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, day Friday. Right. That was Wednesday. Oh, God. The holidays got me mixed up.
Yeah, they get a lot of us mixed up. It's really easy to get mixed up now. The holidays are the worst times. Sometimes for many people when there are no perpetrators. But if you have trouble dealing with the holidays and you add perpetrators, you have a problem. And many people have a great deal of difficulty with the holidays. And it stems from growing up, it stems from childhood, it stems from sometimes attachment disorders, it stems from many things. But I love Christmas myself. I had a wonderful life experience growing up, and my parents were wonderful, and I thank my lucky stars that they were.
Yeah.
You were talking about going into the fusion center sometime to see what you could find out, and some of those First Amendment auditors, the camera guys that go do the work on the places, government buildings, they did go to some of the fusion centers, and they did question people coming and going, mainly outside for days before they ever tried to go in. And you can find some of that on YouTube. And one of the camera guys even tried to do a request of information through the fusion center, and had the people jumping around, and they turned their back on the in and out basket sitting by the counter. While he was standing there, he helped himself to some documents. I don't know if that's been taken down, but he did give the information of what was on the documents to in the video, on a YouTube video. So you can look up the First Amendment auditors pertaining to fusion centers on YouTube. That might give you some ideas as to how to go about some of that. They went to the bigger cities, Austin, Dallas, Texas, some California, East Coast places, all over. So that might help you out.
Thanks, Richard. I'm going to stay up tonight. I'm going to make sure this YouTube for this evening is posted tonight, or actually today. Well, it's still the 25th, so I'll try and get it posted as quickly as I can.
And was there a call last night?
That would be Thursday. That would be Ella's night.
Yeah.
Scylla from Western Massachusetts asked me about a call last night, but it's Ella's night, and I respect that, even in holiday times. And I'm not sure. Scylla said that she had a call.
Oh, she did? Oh, okay.
And Lauren tried to have a Christmas Eve call, but then it was going well for a while, but then I think she had some audio problems.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, that happens. You have your share of audio difficulties if you don't have good virus software. You don't have there's a number of different software programs that you can buy, but the best thing is keeping that machine clean. Clean the browser daily. Clean your internet files out daily. Clean the computer. Defrag it. I have to do that once a day, or else this thing won't even run for all the attacks that I get.
Hey, Frank?
Yes.
Yeah, it's Steve in Ohio. Hey,
hi.
This electronic harassment, constant, noise to the head. Who's the Gestapo here? Is it the fusion centers, the FBI, Department of Homeland Security, or is it all of the above? Have you narrowed down who the bad guys are?
Yeah, I've got a very good idea, and it's a nonconformist idea, but it's I think going to come out to be very accurate. But nobody can really put it in black and white. They can't attach a weapon to it yet. They can't attach the smoking gun to it, and that's what the dividing line is in this case, is the smoking gun. I've got 4 smoking guns, 4 or 5 smoking guns. So.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I know some local police officers, and they know it's real, but they tell me to just be careful. That's all they tell me.
Okay, why? Listen to what I have to say, and before you go any further. Okay, say we have a 40-year-old who was married with 2 children, or 1.2 children, as they used to say, and he brings home $100,000 a year, and his wife brings home $60,000 a year. Okay, so we've got almost $200,000, and out of that they pay taxes, they pay medical, they pay just about all of that out to enjoy life. They put some away. So why would someone target someone who is actually benefiting the economy greatly? Why? Why would they do that? The government would target somebody who, now they're giving out stimulus money right now. Now this one couple puts more stimulus money out there than 20 gifts from the government. So give it some thought. But that's true. There is a couple out here. They make about $150,000 a year together, and they are targeted. So where's the reasoning behind the government targeting them?
Well, there's different reasons, and I know.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
I know a billionaire who's being targeted, and so he owns a lot of newspapers, and he was being poisoned, and nobody would take his case. Dr. Staniger is his doctor, and yet when he goes to the FBI, they won't even help him. So it's who is targeting him and what he knows. So a lot of people are targeted because of what they know. And we're talking wealthy people, we're talking powerful people. Don't think that some of your senators and House of Reps, don't think that they haven't been targeted as well, or their wives and daughters have been implanted. I mean, this is we know a global problem, but I think what people need to realize and start being honest about is that if this wasn't a government program, then they would be able to arrest them. This is a government-funded program. That's a given. You know, there are so many people who know about what's going on. This is no secret. The police won't admit it because it is a state secrets privilege, and also because it is classified information.
Mitch? My next letter to the FBI is going to say this. Now, we have documented in videos, we have documented in FBI videos, documentaries, it's all documented that they had brain fingerprinting, as they called it back in the 80s.
Sure.
And they used to get the truth from people. Now, the only thing that they bring up today is a standard polygraph. That's all they bring up. So who do they use the mind fingerprinting on? Now that later...
Have to do that. You know, I just have to tell you, though, that they are using sleep studies and hijacking the brain waves and hooking them up to the computer. It's the easiest way to do that, and I know that for a fact. So these contractors are contracting with the different military. With I know one for sure. Sorry, I'm having trouble talking because of my jaw. But they contract with the Army and the different military organizations.
I'm supporting what you're saying.
Well, right. Well, the FBI knows a lot, and I know a lot about the FBI. Okay.
Yeah, so do I. It's ridiculous.
No, I went to them directly and complained about my targeting, and they basically smirked at me. Some young college FBI kid, they smirked at me.
Well, they're involved, you know, so they're not going to do anything. They're not going to raise their hand and say, oh, yes, by the way, we are doing this to you. So, you know, they're not going to admit it.
But Frank's earlier point about income, I think it has nothing to do with income. I think it has everything to do with the size of the secrets that you know.
Exactly.
These people know nothing. They don't work in jobs that are involved. They work for NGO companies or non-government companies, unrelated. And the husband works for himself, right? And the wife works for the school committee. So they bring in like $150,000 together. And they, like I say, this stimulus is to stimulate businesses. It's to help the individual, but it's to stimulate the economy. because each individual receiving this check is going to put it right back into the economy, into getting their car, into getting their house painted. So we have two men.
Yeah. What's your point, though, Frank?
My point is this. They were not involved. They are contributing heavily to the economy. They are putting 10 or 20 times as much into the economy as one stimulus check does. So why would the government target?
What's that got to do with?
No.
What's that got to do with?
I'm saying, why would they do that? You have
when you say they,
there are a lot of people who are going under, who are losing their homes, their businesses, the small business owners. Okay, we are going to see a huge amount of homeless people here shortly. I think it is the end of December is when people can start, because right now no one is being held accountable for rent. But that's going to end. So we are going to see huge proportions of people without any kind of income. This is like a little Band-Aid, but this has nothing to do. I mean, there are like two factions going on in our country right now. There is a group that is working totally against us, and there is another group that is, totally for the American people. There is an entire group that has sold us out to China. That is a given. A given. But don't think that we're not going to have to pay that money back in taxes, all right? Because that's exactly what's going to happen. Has anybody looked at what they want to do? How much money they want to send to Pakistan for gender studies? I mean, have you looked at it that the Kennedy Center is getting $1 billion, and that money is used to funnel back into these corrupt corporations and different ones? So it's a funneling system. And if you look at it in detail, the amount of money that people are getting, the different corporations, the different companies and stuff, it is absolutely disgusting. And what are we getting? $2,000. Tell me why the Smithsonian is getting $1 billion. No. You need to look at it in detail. Look at it in detail. It makes you sick.
Yeah, Wall Street gets everything. Main Street gets nothing.
Yeah, it makes you sick because a lot of these big companies and corporations are a funneling system for doing kickbacks to different ones who have their hands, their fingers in the pie, so to speak, to get money. It's a funneling system. I mean, look at it. So we should not be giving any money to foreign countries right now. We should be taking care of our own in this country.
That's right. I agree with that 100%. If you take $327 million and multiply it by 2,000, that is a hefty piece of change.
Well, tell me why they would send money to Pakistan to do gender studies right now, and it's not a small drop in the bucket.
Hi, Mitch.
Millions and millions of dollars.
Hi, Frank and Mitch. Can I jump in? I want to ask you a question, Mitch.
Not right now.
I just want to ask Mitch a question.
Oh, sure.
Okay, Lily.
Hi. Mitch, when you say the Pakistan, I just wondered, was that written in this new package, the $900 billion?
Yeah. It's written in the stimulus package. You have to look at it and look and see that the different countries, the huge amount of money that they're getting, but also the different corporations and stuff. It is absolutely disgusting. And then they break it down. It's kind of like what Constance was trying to say earlier. I mean, people have to educate yourselves. I mean, you have to see what's happening.
Right.
You have to see exactly what is involved in all of this. And yet, oh, goodness gracious, thank you very much. But, some people, I bet, in this group didn't even receive the first one. I didn't. I didn't receive the $1,000 the first time around. So I probably won't get to $2,000 either. So, it's.
Are you retired, Mitch, correct?
What?
You're retired, correct?
I am retired, yes.
Where do I sign up?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm off the grid. I don't accept anything from I don't have any contracts with any of these corporations. I've been off the grid for a long time. So I'm not.
How much is the grid?
I'm not
How
selling.
much is the grid?
I'm not selling my birthright for a bowl of porridge.
Mm-hmm.
So Mitch, can I ask you one more question? If we rewind back to the part where you talked about the technology, and it sounds like I want to make sure I understand you correctly, because you made a lot of really good points, and I want to make sure I understand it. So you believe that there are many reasons why people can be targeted, but ultimately there's a group of people within the targeted community that seem to be targeted for no apparent reason. Like, we don't have secrets. We're just your average Joe who works every day trying to raise our families with no secrets, no nothing. And I think that's what Frank was mentioning about the couple who's targeted, that, you know, they seem to be paying, they're normal people and they pay into whatever, and there's no reason to justify what a group within the TI groups are experiencing, right? So you mentioned earlier, though, that you felt that it's really simple. Everybody knows that we're just getting hooked up to a computer. So it really is. So are you saying that you feel like a lot of the people who are targeted are simply just being used for, like, research and development of some type of artificial intelligence?
Well, there's different reasons. I mean, it's multi-layered. So there are people who are being targeted in just because they can, you know, just because they do. Right. Because what it then, if people were just targeted and say they were all whistleblowers, then it would make it very easy to understand what is happening. So they kind of throw in, you know, different ones into this program for no reason whatsoever, which is just so cruel.
I see.
And so, but others are being targeted because they have gifts. I know someone who has a gift for language. She is not a whistleblower. She's nothing. But she has a gift for languages, and one of them is the Hopi language, which is one of the hardest ever. So they're studying her brain, right? Others are whistleblowers. They know too much. Yeah, so there's different reasons why people get targeted. That's a fact. Yeah.
So they're basically just cognitively modeling people and then taking their information from their mind, and they just store it somewhere.
Yeah, I think they're researching to see how your brain works, you know, and
So they present you with all kinds of, like, emotional crises, like shocking you with, you know, like bang stalking, for example, to throw you into, like, this adrenaline phase, fight or flight. Do you think that has to do with, like, the physiological reactions of how your brain behaves with, like, it's science, so it's your brain waves and it helps them read your mind better or whatever?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. And this is about transhumanism.
Thank you.
A lot of us are put into the programs because they're doing transhumanism. That's a given also for those of us who have been scanned and have had, you know, in-depth reports done. It is shocking. It is. And so you see that gives you a good overview of exactly what they're doing, who's doing it. I mean, I wish I could talk more about what I have and about what I know, but I can't. It's such an eye opener, and I think I was in shock for like 2 years. Seriously, it's like this just can't be real, but it is.
Okay, so when you say transhumanism, you think that there's one of the groups within this program are being.
Oops. Hello.
She cut it out.
Yeah, I agree, Lily.
Yeah, if you listen to Dr. Reverend, if you listen to Reverend Horn, there's a video out called Transhumanism.
Yep.
And it's a group of pastors, and they're talking about it, and they all know a lot. There's a Dr. Vida Moore. She's here in Phoenix. She is a transhumanist, and she speaks in the video. And it's very shocking because these progressives, these globalists, they look at it like it's, as she said in the video, paying it forward, like it's a gift to give people. And, of course, I don't look at it like that at all. I mean, I'm very offended by what has happened to me and the implants that my body has been subjected to. And, it's shocking. Like, I can talk about this. I have a system within my arms and my legs called Tesla phoresis. You can look it up. It's on YouTube. There are several videos. Yeah. And I have a whole wiring system throughout my body with sensors that are in my arms and in my legs. And I know when that exactly happened. I have a huge scar on my right thigh when that was put into my body. And so this system is able to grow very rapidly. The video that I'm talking about on YouTube, there's two scientists, and they have a Petri dish, and they put one puts this little black dot in the Petri dish, and the other scientist puts another black dot, and when they touch, they start growing like a spider web, like within seconds. This huge, just growing. It's so shocking. And so that's a system that I know some TIs that I have met, they have this system, not the only one. They have this wiring system.
The Rice University.
Yeah, so anyhow, but look it up. So I have that within my system.
Nanotubes assemble. Rice introduces Tesla phoresis.
Yeah, that's right. You got it.
Well, we're all implanted via chemtrails anyway.
Yeah, they just happen to have carbon nanotubes lying around all over the place up there.
So
that's what the gentleman says. Oh, we just happen to have carbon nanotubes laying around. So we figured we could do something with them.
Yeah, do you realize with one carbon nanotube they can actually produce a radio within your body? I read that. Now, I haven't been up on nano, but I have increased my research concerning nanotechnology. And it takes very little for them to make a two-way radio that will respond to the computer.
Sorry about that.
I thought we were getting an interlude.
No. That was the introduction to Rice University. The video, I'm going to drop it in the chat. It's nanotubes assemble. Rice introduces telephoresis. And the video was announced. It was posted in 2016. So that's when they released it. Would have been how long they've been doing it before they finally went public with it.
So, a lot of these globalists, they want to live forever because they think they're going to upsert God or whoever you think of your creator. So they're using us to kind of figure it out for them because they think they're going to live forever. And so there's a lot of different reasons, like I said, why people get targeted. So here in Arizona, in the Phoenix area, they have that cryo program where people, while they're still warm, they put them into these big cylinders and they freeze their bodies with the idea that they're going to one day unthaw them when they're a huge medical, say somebody has cancer, that they have the cure for cancer. So, I mean, it's in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's a huge company, and 60 Minutes did a story on it where they show this gentleman go into one of these cylinders and talking to his wife, who's in one of the cylinders, and because she's been frozen, and with the hopes that when they do revive her again, supposedly, that they will have found a cure for her cancer. So they do this, but this is all about globalism, transhumanism. And they're using some of us to do that. So, I mean, it's very shocking. It's very in-depth. It's multi-layered. There's a lot of people making a lot of money. It really pisses me off a lot when I stop and think about all the things that have been done to myself and others that I know. I mean, how dare them? So I do believe though help is coming. I believe that with my whole heart. I think that they're going to be defunding some of this stuff, and I'm hoping that I know President Trump is behind a lot of it, and the reason I know that is because I have been a party to several meetings that have happened in Washington, D.C., and the reason that has happened is because my pictures are so graphic. If they weren't graphic, I wouldn't even, I wouldn't know about this stuff. But because my pictures are so graphic that they have been used in different meetings in Washington, D.C., and President Trump has sent his representatives to these meetings. And so there's a lot of stuff I think that's going on. I think there's a lot of people behind the scenes that are trying to help us. There, had a lot of whistleblowers come forward to targeted justice. I had some people in person come to me and who work for the government or they know something. So that's, how I know so much. So I'm just grateful to those folks who have done that. I'm grateful to the doctors who have helped me, who have given me key information. I know now that they are being targeted as well. This is a 666 system. But I think that once you kind of see how this works, then it's very easily understood.
Yeah.
Also, you mentioned him. You mentioned Reverend Horn. He's also done a DVD called Inhuman, and he specifically went to transhumanists who were willing to talk, and they did it in a friendly, unobtrusive, unthreatened manner. So they just lay it out there, tell you what their plan is.
Yeah, I have to back up. That is the name of the one that I was talking about. It's called Inhuman. You're right. It's 2 parts. And, these guys are in the know. It was, I think it was Putnam who died shortly after they did that, Chris Putnam, after they put that video together. But so what I'm saying is, a lot of people know. They know exactly what's going on, but a lot of people are afraid to talk about it. This is no secret. So I don't know what the future holds. I sometimes think that we all need to form our own communities, especially if, the COVID and all that, if it continues. And, a lot of it doesn't make sense to me. So I see us forming our own communities of like-minded people. And we are going to, I've said this from the beginning, I feel like we're going to have each other's backs. That, there are also independent doctors and different ones that can help us who have strayed away from the managed care. And they are using managed care to put people under surveillance. That is a given. It's called enhanced surveillance. Look it up. Google it. There is an enhanced advisory board. And so what I'm saying is that when you go to the doctor and you complain about something, they're finding an excuse if they find, like some of us, that we are whistleblowers and we just know too much, that they're finding an excuse to put you under enhanced surveillance simply because you're deemed to be an activist or whatever. So they are using Obamacare to put people under this enhanced surveillance. That's a given. And you know who gave me that information was a doctor, a brave doctor. So if you Google enhanced surveillance, you'll see all the different reasons they are using to put people under surveillance. I have, confronted our governor here who signed, I have the executive order. I have the executive order of COVID-19. It's the exact same group It's just enhanced surveillance. That's the name of it.
Okay, Lily would like to ask you a question or two, and because we're on the same channel, she cancels me out so that she can't hear me and I can't hear her sometimes. She's going to ask you a couple of questions. Okay? Thank you.
Hi, Midge. Actually, you answered it very well, and I appreciate it. You made some really valuable points, and really important information tonight from you, as always. And it's just really helpful because, I think it's such a vast, the whole thing, if you take all targeted people, for whatever the reason, it's so vast in its scope, right? And the technology is sophisticatedly covert, and the why or hows are always in question because I think there are so many, groups are involved now that I think that all the technology has leaked out, and these private corporations are formed, and you think about. I remember the stories that you're talking about cryogenics. I remember those stories getting published on mainstream news in the 80s. That started, and I was so freaked out as a teenager, to hear that cryogenics even existed. It just gags me. It's so just beyond, how could people be so idiot, the idiocy of it all. And then to think that some of us might be victims of that science and philosophy as these people in power are using us for it's like, I just think of the really big words, right? Like abomination or, the big bad words, because it's so perverse to even think that they could use a human for research and development of these weapon systems, but to do it on top of that, to do it for something that's so contrary to what's natural in our own beliefs, and it's so outrageous, and I guess at my age, I thought I had seen it all, and I've lived this for such a long time that you just kind of get to a point in time in your life where you just kind of go, you shrug your shoulders and you go, I thought I've seen it all. And then when you start, now I'm connecting everything, and it's almost so bad for me to understand it that I can't understand it. I don't know if that makes sense. It's just that evil. I'm not capable of really comprehending it. It's so awful to me. And I've lived it. So, I think that's part of the problem is it seems so outrageous because they're so good at it's almost like a shell game, or it's a game they play of guess again, right? Who knows? Mm-hmm. And there's so many players, and you're right, so many people have their fingers in the pie. And so many of these people have so much power and so much money that they must just justify it in their minds that somehow they are supposed to, be able to do this. Like they justify it. And I never, ever, I guess this is what I want to say, is that I'll never, ever, ever want to get to a place in my heart and mind where I agree with it. I will die before I will ever agree for the justification of what they think they are doing. There's never, not one beep in our ears, not one V2K, not one gang-stalking incident, not one manipulation through a family member or loved one. There's no justification ever for a burn or, directed energy assault on my body, my brain, or any of us. So that's it. I just am in shock, really, still. Like you said you were in shock for a couple of years. I'm just coming out of it, I think, so
yeah,
it's just
not yet.
Yeah, all these guys are connected. I mean, it's I do a lot of education for myself so that I can see the whole picture, so that I can understand it all, because it is so mind-boggling.
Yeah.
But I'll just throw this out there. So Christine Grady, she works, she's head of human subjects research and medical ethics at NIH, okay?
Mm-hmm.
She is married to guess who? Anybody have an idea?
Oh, gosh. Are you kidding?
She's married to Fauci. She's married to Fauci. They are partnered. They are partnered with Bill Gates. So do you see how this works?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody's
so
connected.
Exactly, and it's just so there's this group of folks that that are in this club that we are not a part of.
And they do what they want.
And they absolutely. And so you have to start. So like I've done in-depth research on Fauci and his research on HIV and all that stuff, and it's all just a bunch of bunk. And these guys are just clowns. And, they're despicable. And so I do a lot of education. I do a lot of reading because I want to know. I want to understand this. I want to see who's connected to whom, and who does this better than anybody is Amazing Polly. If you can.
Oh yeah, I've listened to her before.
Amazing Polly is amazing. She's got kicked off of YouTube. She's now on BitChute. But if I were you guys, I would take the time to listen to some of the stuff that she's been doing this for years. And she is the best little detective out there, let me tell you. She's the one who discovered that our own governor here in Arizona doesn't use his real last name. His real last name is Roscoe. He goes by Ducey. I mean, Polly, she's in Canada. So this gal is amazing, and she's able to do these diagrams where you can see who's connected to whom and how it all comes back around and how they funnel the money from one group to the next, and how they're all millionaires, billionaires, and that's where they want to keep the money. The money's not really going to us. They're just using us.
Yeah. Have you ever, I'm sure have you met Kathy O'Brien? First of all, have you ever talked with her?
She's amazing. I've never met her in person, but I do talk. I have spoken with her.
Yeah.
And I follow her on Twitter.
Dude, yeah. Yeah, I want to read her book. Her video really changed my perspective. I saw an interview with her and her husband, who I understand has passed. Mark Phillips, that was shot years ago by a journalist, and he was interviewing her, and she described her personal experiences being in the programs before she was rescued by Mark, and the things they did to her. And what struck the most, what really put this in perspective, was the ability for the people in power, that were in power over her, that ran this country at that time, what they were able to do, how they treated her and women like her in her circle, the way they abused them. The level of abuse that she experienced said something to me, not only, of course, obviously for what she experienced, that being horrible, but the fact that the men that did those things to her were capable of that level of evil, that were in power. And the types of things that happened to her, I can't even imagine happening to, by somebody not in power. If you just think of anybody, like some psychopath doing those things to her. But had it become, she's describing at the time the most powerful people in the 1990s that did this stuff to her. And once I understood how those politicians looked at her, they treated her like she was a possession or chattel or the property of them, not as a human at all. And when that's where I think we as people, we have this big disconnect, because we can't imagine treating anybody like this randomly or for whatever reason, let alone to be treated on a level of such disrespect because they justify it somehow. So that's part of the tear, I think, in all of us, because we as compassionate, loving human beings who are not psychopaths or sociopathic can't relate. So she really taught me a lot about how people in high, powerful positions view members of society, and they're willing to do these things that is unthinkable. And because to us, we're like, how can you even sleep at night, And
thank you.
Well, they're psychopaths. Kathy O'Brien named names, and those names are the ones who are very much involved in this targeting program.
Yeah, I think they started it.
She's a brave. Well, we have gunshots going off right now. Oh, that's nice. She's a brave lady, but she absolutely means names. And so if you have a chance to listen to her videos, I would suggest that you listen to them. She has done many different conferences and stuff with Roseanne Barr. And it was during one of these, it was Roseanne Barr who said that, oh, yeah, everyone knows that MK Ultra runs Hollywood. Well, it was shortly thereafter that she got fired because she was speaking out. She knows. So
that's the truth.
Huh?
That's the truth. Hollywood, MK Ultra does run it.
So what I'm saying is that, see, this is no secret. This is this cabal that is wanting to be in power, and they want to enslave people. That they look at, different ones as being worthy or not worthy. That's true. Or what can we use you for? And this is the God's honest truth. So, I listen to Roseanne Barr. She knows a lot of stuff. She has a lot of connections. Sean Stone, like I've mentioned before, Oliver Stone. These folks, they know. They're in the know. And so what I see happening is that it is absolutely, being exposed. It was Dr. Dave Janda, who has his own show called, I forget the name of his show, but Dr. Dave Janda has been around for a long time. Well, it was just, last month that he said on his show one day, because he's just disgusted by what he's, seen and hearing, and he said that, he goes, if people are afraid to talk about this, and he goes, well, I'm going to talk about it. He said they are using these microwave weapons on people, and they're called targeted individuals. So he has come right out and he has said that and other people as well. CNN and CBS recently came out and did a series, not a series, but spoke about the microwave weapons that are being used. The Pentagon came out 2 months ago and admitted that there are killer satellites with microwave weapons. So it's all coming out, right? And so, I just stress to people, pay attention to what's being put out there.
Yeah, that came out because China actually shot down one of our killer satellites. So that's when it started to surface. They started concentrating on what's going on. That is the playground for the countries up there now. That's why we have a Space Force. Because that is where they can play without paying.
Well, I know that, from protesting at the CIA headquarters 6 times, and we calculated that we wanted to hit every single shift, which was around about 5,000 cars per shift, with our signs, our banners. And I was very encouraged because our one banner talked about dues. And, people were doing thumbs up and honking their horns and, letting us know that they supported us, telling us that, yes, they know what's going on. So that was very, very encouraging to me. And, we have to get out there because how else are they not going to know unless we tell them? So to me, that was a big turning point for me. We also went to the intelligence headquarters and protested as well. And that was very significant because we're no longer going to be quiet. We're going to put ourselves out there so that because they don't want the attention, trust me, they don't want the public to know, for heaven's sakes. And so you have to get out there. You do, and I hope that we're able to do that.
Are you saying that intelligence community employees were supporting you by honking their horns?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's encouraging.
Yeah, it was the CIA.
That's very encouraging.
Employees, yeah, it was very encouraging, honking and giving us thumbs up. And
wow, that's fantastic. Maybe there's hope after all.
Have to get out there. And, well, I do believe that we have to do another rally in D.C., and we have to get back out there and protest some more. I mean, you put it in their face, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah. I guess out there in Phoenix, they have a thing for several hours every Saturday for targeted individuals.
What's that? Where they used to get together and
yeah,
go
they have
out?
a public megaphone and signs and stuff every single Saturday, I guess, in Phoenix.
I don't think they're doing that anymore. I don't know. Constance was a big part of that. I never participated in that. But Constance did, bless her heart. If anybody's brave, that's Constance. Let me tell you. So, but what needs to happen is that people need to get together and go protest at the fusion centers in front of the FBI. I mean, the FBI has a program for victims assistance program, and they should be offering that to every single one of us. That's how I see it.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder if the media would look down upon us for doing that or support us or just be neutral.
No, don't look for the media to do anything because they're controlled. They're so, even like MSNBC is Microsoft, for heaven's sakes. So they're controlled.
Yeah. That's my answer. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
You got
it's the independent news sources, the independent journalists. Those are the ones that are getting the word out.
What do you think of Democracy Now! By that lady? What do you think of that? Forget her name.
What?
Democracy Now! Forget her name.
Amy Goodman.
Yeah, Amy Goodman. Yeah, she's the real deal, isn't she?
I don't know much about Amy Goodman. I know about Tracy Beans. She runs a program. She's an independent journalist out of D.C., outing a lot of stuff, and they recently burned down her home. But there's a lot of great people. There's a lot of wonderful – there are so many people who are trying to, talk about this now and speaking truth, and we all just have to go listen to it, okay?
One question I ask myself a lot, if I was not a targeted individual and a targeted individual came to me, would I believe them?
Yeah.
I ask myself that all the time.
I do too.
It's tough. I mean, it's so easy to understand when you're in the program, but when you're outside not in the program, it's like, wow, do you believe these people or not? It's a tough situation.
The Reverend Ralph Stupp, before he became targeted, when he heard that somebody was being targeted, his immediate thought is what is the same as what I think most people in the public think, and that is they must have done something to deserve this. That's what he said, yes. Yeah. And I'm betting a lot of them that they don't know why I'm being targeted, but that they see me being targeted out here in the public, and I believe that's what they think.
Yeah, good point. I think you're right. There's a lot of that thinking. Yeah. Yep. One more thing we have to overcome.
Right. Does anybody have a link out there to China Cries?
Cryogenic?
No, China Cries.
Oh, I'm sorry. What is that?
It's a very explicit, a very telling story about China and the Chinese people, as far as I understand. I was hoping somebody had a link to it. Well, we've got 55 people here now, and I'm hoping that some of you will come up and join Midge. And who else do we have speaking? And we have Tucson, we have Anonymous.
Yeah, was someone
Phoenix.
from Tucson? Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm.
Ohio.
Yeah, go ahead. Stephen, you're the one I was looking for.
Oh, I don't have anything to say at the moment. Thanks.
I have something to say. I lived with a target before I got targeted.
You did what?
I thought it was a nut. I lived with a target before I got targeted. Can you hear me? My phone's inside. Hang on, I'll bring it up. I said I lived with a target before I got. I lived with a target before I got targeted. He's actually on the call, but I won't say who he is.
So why did you split up from this person? Oh.
Yeah. Not because he was targeted, but so I think every time he got high, they would really go after him, and I just didn't understand. And I loved him to the point where I was willing to accept any sort of behaviour from him. But I just thought he was a nutcase. And I seriously did. And then it wasn't until I got targeted that I realised actually maybe he was for real. Maybe maybe there were people hassling him. And for example, what we would do is put, block out all the windows, sheets and boards and all sorts. And one time he said, "Look out the window. There's someone in the yard there. Look." And I looked out, and there was someone in the yard. And anyway, that's my little story.
Are you targeted with microwaves? Are you hit with microwaves or something?
Yeah, I get everything now. I mean, I've had everything. My targeting. I'm in the unusual position of my targeting is actually almost stopped, but it still happens, So it's disheartening. I just really wanted to talk. I just wanted to say some really positive things. Thank you, Frank, and thank you, Midge, and thank you to this community. It's really saved me, and when I'm just so low and so down, it's really nice to have this group of people, and I just really want to say thank you so much, and bless your heart.
Well, it's great to hear from you in Australia, and if you could get more of targets in Australia to sign in, that would be great.
I know, the reason I'm scared of finding it, because I'm scared of finding another target in Australia, because in Australia it's all run by bikie gangs. The targeting. Okay. The targeting is done by what you call biker gangs.
Okay.
So I'm not really keen to meet another target, because I might get more targeted again. See, it's a bit of catch-22. See, if I meet someone else and they're a target, and then these other people find out that I'm friends with this other target, it could get worse again. So that's just sort of where we all stand. I think none of us want the targeting to get worse.
I don't picture biker gangs and high technology together, but I guess it's possible.
I know.
Now,
okay, so I understand. Sorry,
when that that Kay from Australia was coming on our call, she would see everyone from the federales to the military base next to her, using her as training. And so that was her experiences, was between the federales and the military.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. And in fact, I mean, there's dirty cops and clean cops, and I haven't gone to the cops in 12 years because of because they didn't respond when I started getting targeted. I just lost faith.
Mm-hmm.
She actually saw the federales put down the sensors around her property so they could put her animals into trances.
Oh my God!
And she would see every morning one of the partners of whoever, because she's next. I don't know if she's still there on that property, but she was next to there was also reserve, preserve, a bunch of forestry next to her, and she would see the partner of one of them go around every morning and collect the cache of lasers and stuff that he had used on her the night before.
Yeah, I remember that story. And that's disgusting.
Yeah, we had a lady from Australia on perhaps 2 years ago, and she was terribly upset because her horses were being killed. And her livestock was being killed, and she was pleading for targets to go there, but at the same time, if someone tried to go there, she would send them to another place. So I never could understand what was going on there. We have a woman from Arkansas that was communicating with her a little bit more closely. But she had some company called Animal Itch or something like that. It was part of her email. And she made some kind of drug or tincture, if you will, for animals, or some kind of animal itch, I guess you have in Australia.
This is totally random, but not random because it's to do with targeting. But because I've been targeted for so long, so my dreams, I've worked out they play video games with my brain in my dreams. So I've had people go against my brain in my dreams and play, and they play a game with my brain, and I've had them tell me, like, I'm not going to boast, but I am smart, and I always win. And they go, oh, God damn, like, I only got one, like, there's a point score of, like, 1 to 12, and they let me know what score they got. And some girl played my brain, and she got 1, and someone else played my brain and got 0. But, yeah, video games in the brain, yep, that's right, in the E-brain. Yeah. So I just wanted to add that because it all kind of becomes clearer and clearer the longer that you're a target, and I just wanted to add that to the pie of every thought that we all put together.
Yeah, so they programmed your brain much in the same way as they did the computer that played Go and actually beat the national champion. International champion.
You're talking
so
chess, huh?
That, right?
Yeah.
No, the game Go.
Oh,
it was invented a couple thousand years ago. Yeah,
okay.
no.
Okay. I've also heard animal rights activists are ripe for targeting, getting back to animals.
Oh, the reason I got targeted was because I offended someone. Sorry, Frank, you don't.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I just offended someone. Like I turned down a man's gestures towards me, and that's why I got targeted. Not the same one as the one before I was telling you about.
Curious. We have so many different walks, or actually we have a cross-section of society that's being targeted.
Mm-hmm.
Which contradicts what I was saying earlier, but I was just simply trying to get an answer, a general, throw it out there and see what everybody says when I was talking about the couple. But yeah, it seems like any gets. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm also a software consultant, and also it's like something to me. They are doing some kind of research, like sometimes they do like the problem solving kind of analytical power, how my brain works, and then I think it's getting fed into some system. They're doing some research for the AI, artificial intelligence. So I have nothing to do with any kind of criminal activity or nothing. I don't know why they are doing it to me.
Okay, if you're a computer programmer and you're very good at it, it sounds like you probably are, they would be interested in your brain because you process things differently than other people.
Yeah, that could be one of the reasons. And also I'm into music as well. I can just mentally think what sound can be better for the any given voice, like a vocal one. I can mentally think, okay, this sound could be better for the given voice. So and also I don't know. I'm a musician. I come from since childhood. I've been playing music, and also I do computer program.
Very good. I play keyboards. I did play the
I've seen. You're told that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and piano.
Sometimes I can if you press a key right, I can tell you which key you have pressed. Something like very relatively I can tell based on not the code one. I can tell you a single key based on single key. If you press C right, I can tell you.
Yeah, I can do the same thing and less cluttered by the perps. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I can picture the piano. I can picture middle C if I want to, but I don't have to.
Yeah.
And all I'd have to do is sit down at the piano for a couple of minutes, and I would have all the tones back and their locations. But the perps, knowing that I'm a musician, play on that. And they continually attack that area of my brain because any song is actually an algorithm. And algorithms are used in computers, so maybe they like my songs.
And now you stop playing, or you are continue playing the piano?
I don't have a keyboard at this time. That I am very, very fussy. I don't like the only keyboard that I liked was a Yamaha electric piano with weighted keys, because if you play anything that does not have weighted keys, you start to lose strength in your fingers, and you start to lose a little bit of dexterity for handling the piano. So if you've been playing, we'll say, an organ for years and years and years and years, and you try to go back to the piano, it'll take you a bit. because of the action. It's all about action. I mean, many people have the action on their piano adjusted all the time,
So
along with the tuning.
They attack your hand so that they are actually not to play the piano. They attack your hand or any body?
No, yeah, well, they want it now so they can find the exact locations of all that information, because apparently they don't have that. So that's one reason why they want me to. But my dream here is to have a Steinway, and I want one terribly bad. Either that or a Chickering, because a Chickering is right before they were actually purchased by Steinway. And they are tuned like a guitar, rather than having pegs in the tuning block. They actually have tunable strings like a guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Curious.
Hmm. Well, thanks for the... Go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say good night.
Oh, hey, have a good night. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that because you're a computer programmer and you are also a musician, those are two strong points, and I think that this could be reasoning behind this, what you know, and I know it's who you've been in contact with, who you've worked for, who you've worked. When I was with the band, we played for a senator while he was on tour, making his speeches and whatnot.
No, I don't. Yeah, you are correct. But normally, I don't advertise myself. Even on the Facebook, I keep all my skill set within me, and I only participate in the college event or something like that one. I don't go to any political party or anything. Just I keep play myself in I'll just downplay myself. That's it. Even I don't post any videos on the Facebook or any YouTube so far in my life.
What about in India? What do they do there in terms of your skills? How do they treat those? I think you've written me before and said they did not appreciate your skills enough there.
Oh, in India, no. This thing is first started in US only, and then I lived in India for a few years, and then after there is a gap. They also started the same harassment in India. And then they do it for few years, 1 or 2 years, and then there is a gap of another 1 year. Again, they will start again. So it's something like in my life. It is like on and off. Wherever I go, they will start. But the origination was in the U.S. the first time. You got it?
Okay. Yes. Thank you so much. We had Darlene who was going to speak, and you're welcome to stay there. And we've had a number of people pop up into the active speaker section.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, how you doing?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. It's pretty bad in here in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Darlene. Yeah,
yep.
it's pretty bad here, but just gotta make the best of it. I just wonder because I missed most of the call, I'm wondering if you guys have any good news to share.
Not really. Midge Mathis has been on here, and we've been discussing fusion centers and Department of Homeland Security and the whys and the why nots of targeting. And we've come up with a lot of good conversation here, a lot of good content, great information, and highly recommend that you chime in here and become part of the conversation. Midge is still here, and we've got Rich.
Hi. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
I'm hoping that Trump can help us, but I think he's got his own dilemma going on right now, trying to be president. So I'm hoping after all that he can help us.
Well, he has. Oh, go ahead, Mitch.
Well, I think there has already been a lot going on behind the scenes for quite some time, which I think if he could do it another term would benefit us greatly. So, I'm just hoping and praying that helps. I mean, there's a lot of information coming out about how the election was stolen. It is now being reported here in Phoenix by a whistleblower that two planes were flown into the Phoenix area, and they were unloading ballots for Biden. These are corrupted ballots. They're not valid ballots. So there's been a lot of corruption going on here in Arizona, which is now coming to light. So this report just came out today, and it's unimaginable the lengths that they've gone through to steal this election, and it's very sad. But I do believe that I said this earlier, that there are a lot of good people who are trying to help us, and because there are a lot of people who are being targeted. They don't come on these calls. We never hear of them, but there are a lot of good people who are in the know, who are doing independent news, who are being targeted. We're not the only ones.
Yeah. I believe that a lot of those people that were doing the voter fraud already got arrested and sent to Gitmo. Mm-hmm. That's what I hear on the YouTube videos.
They don't want them.
I think they're going to turn it around, and I believe Trump is still going to be our president.
Yeah, we shall see. But, I mean, there's just so much. It's just, mind-boggling, right? It's just, if we only knew half of it, I think, we would just be incredibly shocked, because we're just getting a small portion of the truth. And they pretty much keep us in the dark about a lot of things, I think. So who knows exactly what all is going on, but it's unbelievable. It really is.
But they're finding out that there's a lot of corrupt judges that are ruling over these things, and I believe all this darkness is going to come to light. And I believe Trump is going to still be our president. But as far as helping us, I believe that he's working like behind the scenes. He's got people working on it. But I think there's so many different facets to it that it's hard to get to the bottom of it.
Well, I haven't seen Gina Haspel lately. Gina Haspel is missing in action. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's several stories out there about Gina, but she has not been seen anywhere in, more than 6 weeks or something like that.
Yeah. Did Chris Wray get fired?
Yeah, who knows? Like I said, if we only knew the half of it, right?
Yeah. I think they're sort of cleaning out a lot of things, even the Pentagon.
Yes.
FBI.
But what is this
Well,
about how can they defund the Pentagon? I mean, the CIA.
Yeah.
How can they
What do
do
you-
that?
Not
what do
going
you
to
mean?
happen.
How can we do that? It's not a necessity. I mean, this is what Kennedy wanted to do years ago.
Yeah,
He
look
wanted
what
to
happened.
scatter the CIA to the winds in 1,000 pieces, and
Yes,
they killed
yes.
him. They killed him over that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Not going to happen.
you know, they're known to be they're drug runners. I mean, it's like, why are we even paying their salaries? I don't get it. That's what I don't get.
They'll
Right.
just go
They
down.
want to give us. They want to give us
They'll just go
$600 stimulus
I
payment.
mean, it's just good grief.
The CIA will just go die.
Well, you know, Barr has left, so
Yeah.
hoping that the new AG will do a better job. I mean, I just sigh, a big sigh, because it's just unbelievable. It's, you know, we just need folks who want to do the right thing. And I do believe there are a lot of good people who are trying to do the right thing.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of sad about Barr. I expected more from Barr.
Yeah, well, Barr's deep state. So I had him on my deep state list on the Targeted Justice website for a long time. I kept sending
I heard
messages, and I kept saying, I hope I'm wrong, but I didn't think so.
I hope this doesn't happen, but I think the CIA is just going to go dark, and they're going to become nameless, and you won't hear about them. But they'll still be there. Just the name will be gone. Let's hope that's not the case.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
trying to
because
pay
if it is the case,
okay.
they'll probably keep running the program. If they still survive, they're going to keep running this program.
They will anyway.
They will anyway?
Of course they will. Every government agency and everyone at every level who's involved enjoys the heck out of it. And is profiting. Every level is profiting. You can't fight the greenback.
So they just keep killing people and taking their property? And they can get away with that?
Look how long they've been getting away with all this crap. 70 years?
Well, so if you have your land in a trust, your home's in a trust, can they still take it?
No. No.
No.
Whose home has been taken that's been in trust?
No. Mine. I'm saying if something happens to me, can they take my property if it's in a trust? For my daughter.
No, they can't.
They should not be able to, right?
They can't, period, unless Hawaiian laws are much different than the rest of the country.
Okay. Well,
but no, they can. If it's in a trust account, no. However, what they are doing is they're using our Social Security numbers to get illegal bank loans to purchase real estate and to start businesses. That's a given. And what's happened in my case is that my signature was forged off of the deed of trust on my properties, and they were taken from me. And that has happened to other people as well.
I happen to know somebody, very closely know somebody, who actually signed 2 or 3 pieces of paper that didn't have anything on them, and homes were purchased, and she was held liable. So if they take your Social Security number and they make purchases, why isn't this falling back on you?
So how they're doing this and getting by with it is they are creating trust accounts, okay? And so they do that to avoid probate. If you own the banks, you own the title companies, you own the real estate companies, you're connected to the government, you get by with it. This is what I whistleblew. Okay, so I know what I'm talking about. I went to the FBI, silly me, but they sent me to the Secret Service who does RICO. So this is a given. This is exactly what's been happening.
The question that matters the most.
Darlene, you have background noise.
Oh, no, I don't think that's me. I'm just the only one here.
Okay, all right, enough.
Oh, unless it's my perps. I'm sorry, I don't know. It's not coming from me, though. Sorry.
All righty.
I thought you said Eileen. We have another Eileen. Oh, it's Darlene. Did you say Darlene?
Excuse me? No, I said Darlene. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Eileen. I'll mute myself. Thank you.
Oh, no, you're fine. It's not coming from you. I'll just go to the active. Yeah, I'm just wondering. A Social Security number is etched in stone. So they hide the they use the Social Security numbers, then they hide them. Is that it? Because other than that,
they own everything. If they're going to do properties in your name to get illegal bank loans, if they own everything that processes all that, because you have to realize there is not one government entity that is not corrupted. If it's the IRS, I don't care what it is. This cabal, the globalists, they're running the show. So they're able to do these things. And, like you said, there are a lot of good people trying to right the wrong. But, and it's, like I said, it's so multi-layered. And, they want to own everybody.
Yeah, so if the Social Security numbers don't show and they don't fall back on anyone or burn anyone, why use Social Security numbers? Why not just do it?
I don't know.
Hey, Midge, I thought I listened to your interviews and you said that they can only purchase so much property on one person's name or something like that, so they need other people's names so they can purchase more property.
Well, they're using people's Social Security numbers to obtain illegal bank loans. And you guys, there was just a bank in the news a couple years ago, 3 years ago, that all this came to light. Think about it. I don't like to talk about them because it's part of my targeting, but think about it. It was in the news for a long time. They said that the employees were using the Social Security numbers of their customers. Remember that? Does that ring a bell with anybody? And so they were obtaining these illegal bank loans to purchase properties and to create businesses. Oh, come on, you guys. Wells Fargo, hello, remember that? And they fired a bunch of employees. That's exactly what they were doing.
Yeah, because the Social Security numbers.
Remember that story?
Yeah, didn't everything fall back on the individuals? And that's how they got bagged?
Well, Ella interviewed the whistleblower that brought it all out. So they're able to do that.
Well, they should do away with Social Security numbers then and just let you put your own X on the line. Because Social Security numbers are worthless.
I think they're going to, it's something about, I because I did go to the Social Security office and I did check on everything, and something about they were going to assign a different numbering system. I have no idea if that's true or not. If anybody knows more than I do, please say something. But there's a lot of things that are changing, right? We're in the midst of a big change in our country.
Right. Maybe it's to do with the new. Does anybody have the new United States license yet? We don't.
Yeah.
What does it look like? Hello? I'm just curious as to what it looks like. Does it look like the same driver's license? Or does it have a chip in it? Or does it have evidence of a chip? Or strange lines? I'm just curious. I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's different in different states, I think.
Like
well,
they have the enhanced. They gave me a RFID cover for it. On my own. I don't think I'm call.
Hello? Frank, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Is
Somebody
that
was
person
trying
okay
to
that was talking?
I'm not sure. Let me see. I think that was Australia. But I understand you can use this new license as a passport. Am I wrong in assuming that? That's what I've heard.
They're going to have new travel papers, so to speak, I guess.
Oh.
Or you can just use your passport, but you have to get these travel papers if you don't have a passport. So I think it has to be done. If you're going to get these travel papers, you have to get it done by, don't quote me on this, I want to say August of 2021. You've heard about this, right, Frank?
Travel papers? No, I've just heard about getting my passport renewed.
Right. Okay.
And I just understood that the United States driver's license you could use for just about anything. I'm going to look it up right now.
Let's see. As of October, every adult needs to show a real ID compliant driver's license or another acceptable form of identification, such as a passport, to fly within the United States. If you don't have one, you're not going anywhere, even if you're traveling domestically, so you have to get these travel papers. International travel document requirements. So if you just Google it, it's there. And then, of course, now with the COVID, I'm sure you have to get vaccinated before you can do any overseas traveling. Has anybody else heard about this?
No, I'm actually just reading up on this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got a passport a couple years ago, maybe 2 years ago, and they gave me options. I could get just the passport, or I could get a passport card, I don't know if you guys have those inside of your states, but it's like totally different than having a license. The one is used for travel inside of the United States, where you don't have to have your passport or get stamps or anything. But it's basically just like a new kind of ID. And it's actually a card. So. Does anybody else have that?
No, I've just got mine. Well, actually, I don't have it right now. I'm waiting for it to come in the mail. I had to renew my driver's license, and it cost me in the neighborhood of $160 before I got through, and I still have yet to receive it.
Is that your passport?
No, you have to provide a lot of information before you can actually get the national one. You have to bring your birth certificate. You have to bring this, that. So there's a lot of documentation involved with it.
But once you get your passport, it's easy to renew. You don't have to go through that whole process every time.
Do they give you an option for a passport card as well?
I think so. I mean, I just have a regular passport that I've had forever that I recently renewed.
Passcard or passbook?
I have a passbook.
All right, yeah, I just had this done like about 2 years ago, and they had an option between having a passport card and a passport book, and I didn't know what this passport card was.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a little bit different than the actual traditional ways of using passports. So I don't know if that's just for traveling within the United States, or if you can actually use that card, probably like a digital signature of where you've been traveling, instead of actually having somebody stamp something inside of your book. I'm not 100% sure on how that works because I haven't used it yet. Especially when COVID-19 set in, I kind of wanted to get out of the country for a little bit, just because I was targeted, and I wanted to see if they kind of traveled to other countries with me. But yeah, I've got 2 different forms of passports. One's the actual book, and then there's the actual like a card. It's kind of like your driver's license. So I don't know what that actually is, and I'm from the state of Pennsylvania. I don't know if they're doing that in every other state right now, but they give you that option inside of Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Right.
Governed by the TSA.
Right. Yeah, so you're going to have to get these travel documents if you don't have a passport. So for here in Arizona, it's effective October 1st, 2021.
Wow. It's so vague. Every page says something different.
Mm-hmm. For more information, go to Department of Homeland Security.
Right.
Go to their website.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, well. At least they're finding more and more things for the DHS to do.
One more
We
hope
say
for us to be
you
true,
know.
and yeah.
I saved it. I'm going to put a link in the chat so that you can get a look at it. TSA. Sounds like somebody's got a little flute in the background. Okay, that's in the chat. www.tsa.gov, sites, default, files, resources, blah. Okay, I'm going to grab some more coffee. Midge, you've got the con if you want it. And I think that Laura is still with us. I'll be right back.
Anyone else want to come forward? Anything to talk about? I hope you all had a good day. I know it gets hard for a lot of TIs, but there again, if you can reach out to other TIs and check on them, that helps, I think.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Beth. Because we have sinned against, that I most want to bring your attention to is verse 10. Notice carefully what it says. He has not dealt with us according to our sins, nor rewarded us according to our iniquities. I am most grateful today that God has not dealt with, has not rewarded me according to my iniquity. Because if God dealt with me according to my sin, if He rewarded me according to my iniquity, then I would receive nothing but His wrath. You see, the wages of sin, the reward of sin, is death, eternal death. Because we have sinned against the eternal God, the punishment of that sin is also eternal. And if we die in our sins, we will very rightly and very justly go to a very real place that the Bible calls hell, where the worm will not die, the fire will not be quenched. There'll be wailing and weeping and gnashing of teeth. And that is what I deserve. That is what you deserve. There's a lot of people today clamoring for justice. Oh, we need justice and social justice, and I want what I deserve. I want what I am owed. I want justice. Dear ones, let me tell you something. You don't want justice. Trust me. You don't want justice, because if you got justice, then you would get hell. My friend and pastor up in northern Idaho, Jim Osmond, you've heard me mention him probably if you've watched me for very long. Jim Osmond and I were having lunch one day a few years ago together, and he said that if God were to strike from me everything that I have, take away my wife, take away my family, take away all of my possessions, everything I own, strip from me everything that I have, and leave me to die a cold, slow, painful death alone in a ditch, and then send me straight to hell, he would have done me no wrong. And you know what? He's right. Because that's what Jim deserves. That's what his sins have earned him. That's what I deserve. That's what my sins have earned me. That's what you deserve. That's what your sins have earned you. The wages of sin is death. And I am profoundly grateful that God has not dealt with me according to my sin, that He has not rewarded me according to my iniquities. You see, the bow of God's wrath was pulled back to full draw.
I don't know,
And
but
it was
you know what?
pointed
Can I just
squarely
stop
at
you
me.
right there? Wait, can I stop you right there?
But
This
instead
is
of
not,
releasing the bow of his
excuse me,
wrath at
because this
me,
isn't, not
he
everybody
diverted
believes the way
that
that
bow,
you do,
and he
okay?
pointed it at
Sounds like
someone
a
else.
recording.
He
Doesn't it
pointed
sound
it
like a real
to his
person?
son, Jesus
I don't have
Christ.
control of the board,
God
so
sent his
Frankie
son.
can
Hey,
do
is
that.
this a recording? Is this a recording of somebody talking?
Lived a perfect life.
Yes,
Sounds like it's a recording of someone talking.
Yeah, he's not going to answer if it's recording.
Well, he's not really speaking for targeted individuals.
No, he's not. Well,
Perfectly
Frank needs to get back on and
the
mute him.
perfect wrath of
Mute it. So
Yeah, we
I
need
don't
to
have control over the board.
I mean,
So,
mute that guy. 'Cause it's a recording,
It is. It's a recording. How rude.
Yeah, Paul.
Frank,
what
are
is
you
your
back?
Yeah, I just heard across
Yeah.
the room.
That was whole.
What is his problem? Maybe he fell asleep.
Someone
He's a
put a
recording.
recording of Justin Peters on there.
Yeah.
I could tell you his problem, but it probably wouldn't make sense, too much sense. But I know exactly the type. So I know what his problem is.
Well, you know what? Let me just interject this after listening to that ding dong. The Bible is clear and concise, and God does say in Revelation He's going to deal with the lawless. Okay, the lawless are the people who are doing this to us, victimizing us. And He does talk about in Revelation that all liars and all these sorcerers and murderers and thieves that have been doing this to God's people are going to be dealt with, and they're going to be in hell. So this stupid dude putting this on here is just to try to make us feel like we deserve to be punished for some reason. We do not. We do not deserve what's going on with us, and we know we're good people. We know that God loves us. We're not sinning against other people. We're not using weapons against other people. We're not torturing other people. We're being persecuted. And so this does not apply to us, what that guy just put on the recording there for us to hear, because everybody sins. We know that. Everybody blows it. But we're covered, because we have righteousness in us. And once we have God, we have righteousness from God. God is righteous, but He loves us, so we're covered. And we're also immortal. So that means when we pass on, we're with God. We're immortal, Well,
there's more stipulations. There's truth to what you're saying, but there's more stipulations to that. I mean, what I would caution is that not everybody believes the way that you do, and not everybody believes that in easy grace. And so, I just would caution, this is not a religious call, and it's not a, that person who put that on there, they were wrong doing that, hands down. However, there was some truth into what he was saying.
Well, there's always truth there's always some truth that's twisted from the devil,
Okay.
So, that's it.
That's enough. I encourage people to say a prayer at the beginning of the call or the end of the call, whatever they choose. But religious talk lends to a problem simply because there are so many different views. Thank you. No, I'll try for that. No, I'll try for that. Go ahead.
Plus, I'd like to say, importantly, to those who profess to know God, number one, you don't preach to those who are suffering. There was nothing about Jesus that preached to those who are suffering or that He would want anybody who knows Him to do. That's one. Number two is He is preaching the rules and doctrines of man, not of God.
Not true. Sorry.
It is true, because you don't come on the call like this and start preaching that kind of crap to those who are suffering. So already that's not of God. Just because he's preaching what he's learned from church people and what he's read in the Bible is the way to approach people, it's all wrong. So it's not of God.
Read the Bible. John 3:18.
It doesn't matter. It matters how you apply it, Lonnie.
I'm done. I've done everything I can do, Frank. Good night.
Let's read Frank 1. End religion on this call, please, because you're getting both of you are getting worked up now. So just end it. Move on to targeting. Richard, why don't you take over? You always have something good to say.
Well, I wanted to say a little more about the papers. Of course, in Germany, you had to have papers to move about and go places and do things. And if they're setting up your license and passport and all of that to be available in that manner, restricting flights pertaining to those documents and having to come forward with so many different documents to even acquire such a thing, we definitely got a problem around and about with our Social Security numbers and who is who, and identification, swiping, stealing of someone's identity. Maybe they are trying to work on some of that, but be sure to keep your documents and papers in a very safe place. Get copies, put them in 2 or 3. They say don't put all your eggs in one basket. Get you several copies and put them in 2 or 3 different places, or try to keep those separate from anywhere the perps might be able to get to them. So. And we are looking forward to a new year coming on. We don't know exactly what it may bring. As was said earlier, 2020 was incredible. I certainly hope 2021 is not even a match to 2020. We have to look forward and keep our spirits lifted up enough to believe that there's something better looming. Some opening door, exposure to, and like it was said before, the new AG, he might make a difference. The old AG, Attorney General, he was hung up on one thing, and that was a matter of national security. So maybe this new guy will help us out and expose some more things. I hope so. TIs tend to believe the things they choose to believe. We all have a right to believe what we want to believe or feel like is true or right. Not everyone is right. Not everyone is wrong. These calls are made to be able to express whatever it is you feel or whatever it is you think. And the search is about truth for sure, but that search, brings forth a lot of different theories and opinions. And, we have to learn that there's something ahead of us that we're all pertaining to or working on as a group, and that's the most important. These other things are things we can get past and move forward, hopefully.
Oh, I found the behind-the-scenes music, finally. Phoenix, Arizona, you've got some music playing behind there? Phone number ending in 333. Okay, we've got 49 callers. We just exited 50. So it is 12:48. So I think I'm going to stop the recording a little early. So Targeted Massachusetts Northeast Conference signing off. 12:26 at 12:48 a.m.